Sticking on the east side, 70 westbound heavy, Mount Comfort to Midhofer with a crash in the left lane. And on the south side, 65 northbound heavy, County Line Road all the way over to Edgewood with a crash on both shoulders. Traffic is sponsored by Unbound.org. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change your world, and they'll change your own. Unbound.org. I'm Jeremy Scott with traffic on the 5s. Follow us on Twitter at WIBC Traffic.
Will you be there?
This is just such a prestigious place and such hallowed ground.
Reigning Brickyard 400 champ and 2024 Indy 500 Rookie of the Year, Kyle Larson will try to make history, racing and winning the Indy 500 presented by Gamebridge and the NASCAR Coca-Cola 600 in the same day.
I love you, Indiana fans. How about we come back next May and try and kiss these bricks on the IndyCar?
Don't miss your chance to see Kyle Larson take on two-time defending champion Joseph Newgarden and all the stars of IndyCar at the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500.
See you guys all next May.
For ticket info, visit ims.com.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Sundown Gardens, Hamilton County's fall nursery headquarters.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Mostly cloudy with a stray shower or two possible today. Cooler, a high of 82. Mostly cloudy, quiet, and mild overnight, a low of 66. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
Mostly cloudy, 68 on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall. When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money. And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday the 13th. It is 6 minutes after 9. It's the Kendall and Casey show on 93 WIBC. And in for Rob today is the dude. So to start off, I have to ask you, because it is Friday the 13th, are you superstitious?
In the immortal words of Michael Scott from The Office, I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious.
A little stitious, okay, because a lot of sports fans and athletes are superstitious, so you have let go of that over time.
I used to be superstitious when I was younger, and I haven't thought about it in a long time, and for some reason, I'm not. Like, I would wear certain Notre Dame gear. I've got a Notre Dame jersey. I used to wear that for Notre Dame football games, and I used to do but I don't do that anymore. And I'm not quite sure if it's just I'm older and wiser, or
just careless,
or just careless. That could be it too. Life has beaten me down to the point where I'm just whatever you got, I'll take it.
Just throw it at me. We're going to talk about that Notre Dame game that's happening this weekend later on in the show. So today being Friday the 13th, it's kind of like COVID, which became the whiteout for everything, the excuse for everything. Well, I can't go because, COVID.
We got inflation, blame COVID.
Right.
The world's going to in the bad direction, blame COVID.
Right. So today that it's Friday the 13th, that can be your scapegoat for anything. If something goes wrong, well, it's Friday the 13th.
Kevin couldn't find his headphones before we went on the air. I was like, well, it's Friday the 13th,
Friday the
Kevin.
13th.
That's why they got you again, didn't it?
You just got a built-in excuse. So you don't have to take accountability for anything today, kind of like your politicians.
That's actually a really good strategy. They should start doing that. It's Friday the 13th. I'm sorry that we can't release the investigation documents from the city of Indianapolis about potential sexual harassment claims.
Well, that's what Mayor Joe Hogsett did yesterday. He took questions from reporters for about 30 minutes. Most of them stemmed from the sexual harassment accusations against his former deputy mayor, Thomas Carl Cook. He said that he's not stepping down. I know we're skipping ahead, Kevin, but let's go to that quote. He had that press conference, and our very own Abdul asked him the first question. So he signed that proposal 287, and he did it like it was this major thing. I'm signing the proposal in front of everybody to let you know I'm serious about this.
We're going to save this pen and frame it and put it inside the city council office. It's such a big deal. So important.
Let's pass it out to everybody. But let's take a listen to what he had to say during his press conference.
With that, I'd be happy to answer your questions.
Mr. Mayor, one of the big things in this whole conversation has been
sort of what were you aware of, and when did you learn about it? It seems to be sort of circling around the year of 2017 was first brought to your attention. At the same time, Thomas Cook, your former chief of staff, stayed in that position through 2020. What was your logic? What was your rationale behind keeping him in that position? Also, on top of that, with the city's succession plan, in case something ever happened to the mayor, Mr. Cook was still like number 2 or 3 on that list. Were you comfortable with leaving someone with these allegations, literally running the city of Indianapolis in case something would have happened to you?
Well, in every case where complaints were brought to my attention about the behavior of Mr. Cook, consistently, I first conveyed those complaints to legal counsel and to human resource professionals. An investigation was conducted. Sanctions were imposed. And in that measure, they became increasingly severe. So, to answer your question,
yes,
please.
I did what I was required to do at the time that people complained about how Thomas Cook was behaving.
Okay, so he said that he's citing confidentiality as a reason he's not going to release the investigation records from 2017.
Look, if you live in Indianapolis right now, local Democrats are laughing at you. They are staring at you and laughing right in your face because for as awful as Joe Hogsett has been, and he has been a dumpster fire for a long time, if he were running for re-election this November,
he'd win.
He'd win.
Yeah.
He'd win. There's no doubt about it. Riots and businesses burned in 2020. You've got the Thomas Carl Cook allegedly, harassing employees. Other sexual harassment claims that came out right after the Thomas Carl Cook allegations came out. Slurring his words in public. Violent criminals not being prosecuted and let back on the streets. Many without bail. Potholes the size of city buses on our streets. If he were running for re-election, he'd still win. And even if Hogsett, by some miracle, is forced to resign, it really doesn't matter because they're just going to replace him with Hogsett 2.0. The Democrats are laughing at you today because they know they can do whatever they want and you will keep reelecting them.
Okay, so he was asked if he would resign, and yeah, that was a big no.
Mayor, what's your response to those in the community who have asked you to step down? How do you respond to those in the community?
I have no intention of stepping down.
Do you feel responsible for fostering an environment where something like this can happen?
The mayor of the city of Indianapolis has to take a leadership role and update its policies and procedures that protect a safe and comfortable working environment for all of its employees. So in that regard, that is a responsibility of mine, and that is why we are here today. We are engaged in looking with the council at each aspect of our workplace misconduct policies and updating them.
Okay, so he said he wants to regain voters' trust with hard work, commitment, and dedication with an eye toward changing things, even though he's had years to change things, even though he was allegedly aware and allegedly investigated, even though he's not going to be releasing any documents on that. What do we do? You're a resident of Indianapolis.
Well, that's like you and Rob talk about all the time. We've got to get more involved. And, the Marion County GOP is just as much to blame, well, almost just as much to blame for this as anybody because they have been an absolute disaster. They had an opportunity. You had, on the surface, initially, what looked like a pretty good candidate in Jefferson Shreve last year. Infinite money. He's been on the city county council before. He's got some local political experience. And the Marion County GOP just ran one of the worst possible campaigns last year that you could run for somebody running on the Republican side for the mayor of Indianapolis.
Yeah, they listen to consultants too much.
They listen to consultants.
It was a package message
They
from Shreve.
listen to their own words. They had somebody with unlimited money to spend against a vulnerable Democrat mayor, and they absolutely did nothing with it.
Okay, so something that happened yesterday was that crew of 4 aboard SpaceX, that capsule, and it was the world's first private spacewalk, and it was billionaire Jared Isaacman who went out first. Guy's 41 years old and he's already a billionaire. I feel totally inadequate.
If you were a billionaire, would you pay whatever he paid? I'm sure it was millions and millions of dollars to go into space and
No,
walk in space?
absolutely not.
I mean, you're a billionaire.
I've got things here on Earth that I care about.
Yeah, but you're a billionaire. You could have done all those things
That
already.
doesn't secure
you
my
travel the
safety.
world. You could do all sorts of other things. I got to believe eventually when you've got that much money, that's why these guys do this. They get bored.
Right.
They're bored because if you're somebody that can make $1 billion, you are a driven type A personality. You're moving constantly. You're always looking for new challenges. And when you've won, because if you're a billionaire, you won. You got to find something else to just get your heart racing and be interesting. And so that's why you see these billionaires, going to, in submersibles to see the Titanic and shooting themselves off into space.
Right. Isn't this the exact same thing? It's the billionaire version of a cruise or around the world travel excursion, something exciting for them to do. This guy, I can't even believe it. I had to look up Jared Isaacman to see what he was all about. He founded a company when he was just 16 years old. He convinced a bank to give him credit card terminals. And now what he does, his business has ballooned and he handles transactions for about 1/3 of America's restaurants and hotels. They process more than $200 billion in payments every single year.
And good for him. What a great American entrepreneurial story. Started when he was 16 years old, got a loan from the bank, and has built it into this multi-billion-dollar company and has enriched himself for all the risk that he took. And I love stories like this. I love stories like this because I love that Elon Musk has taken space travel farther in the last 10 years than any state government, and certainly more than NASA has in the last 30 or 40 years. That's the way it should be. Government is always going to be the least efficient way to get something done. And here Elon Musk has come along and done it in the private sector. And if part of that is billionaires paying $1 billion or whatever he paid to go into space for a joyride, I'm all for it.
Okay, so here is what he had to say when he was out on his spacewalk.
SpaceX. Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, Earth sure looks like a perfect world.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, Earth sure looks like a perfect world. It seemed to inspire all of the people that were in mission control. SpaceX has 13,000 employees. But what is driving Elon Musk to go into space? Is it because he wants to leave this planet?
He said that, yeah. I mean, he believes, and who knows what's going on in Elon Musk's head, but he said that, yes, eventually we will, as a species, have to leave Earth, and we better get on it and figure out how to do that. And so he's doing it. And, he's the same guy that said free speech is important, and I'm going to spend $44 billion on Twitter to make sure it's a free speech platform. And he was the guy that started PayPal, 30 years ago, which was the genesis of electronic online money transfers. He's done it again and again. He took on the big three automakers, something that hundreds of car companies have done over the last century, and all have failed. And he has found a way to be successful. I'm not an electric car guy. I'm not a fan of that, but I'm a fan of how Elon just keeps winning. Everything he does and builds just keeps being successful, and how there are people out there that disdain this guy, I just will never understand, because he just keeps hitting home runs on everything he does.
Okay, so he has endorsed Donald Trump, and we're going to get into that coming up from 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
In Detroit, Kamala rolls out this bizarre accent.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave.
I would love it if that's how she talked in meetings. Kamala Harris goes up there sounding like Foghorn Leghorn. I'll say, somebody better turn the Fox News off the television.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Sinus pain. You know it all too well. It's constant. It's frustrating. The pressure, the headaches, the snoring, the constant clogged feeling. You're tired of feeling like this, but you've tried nasal sprays, over-the-counter medicines, even home remedies. No matter what you try, nothing gives you lasting sinus relief. You're tired of missing out and feeling miserable. There is something you can do. Something different. Indianapolis Sinus Center. The physicians at Indianapolis Sinus Center have been serving the community with proven treatments for over 50 years. They know what you're going through, and they're standing by ready to offer you the best treatments to provide long-term relief. breathe better. You don't have to keep suffering from sinus pain. Call Indianapolis Sinus Center today at 317-528-9650 and take the first step toward relief. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650 or go to IndianapolisSinusCenter.com.
Close your eyes and picture it. The warm sun on your face. The sound of waves lapping against the shore. What if I told you that feeling of summer relaxation could be yours all year round? At Howard Bailey Financial, we specialize in retirement planning that lets you embrace that summer state of mind every day. Imagine knowing that your future is secure. With our expert advisors, we'll craft a personalized retirement plan tailored to your dreams. Whether it's traveling the world or pursuing your passions, we'll ensure that your retirement is as carefree and fulfilling as a relaxing summer afternoon. Embrace a summer state of mind and text SUMMER to 888-494-5004 to download our complimentary retirement toolkit and experience your retirement planning with confidence.
This endorsement was not provided by a client of Howard Bailey. This individual was compensated for this endorsement. For more information, visit howardbailey.com/TSY.
It's all in the numbers with Window Nation. They installed over 200,000 windows last year. That's 40 times more than the average window company. Over 20,000 online positive reviews. Do you know how hard it is to get a positive review online?
Buy 2 windows, get 2 for free. 0 down, 0 interest for 24 months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. 866-90-NATION. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Are you concerned about rising property taxes? My name is Donald Rainwater, Libertarian candidate for governor. My plan would limit your property taxes to 1% of the purchase price of your property. It would never increase, and it would end once you've paid for 7 years. To learn more about my plan to make Indiana government less taxing, go to rainwaterforindiana.com and watch the televised gubernatorial debates this October. My name is Donald Rainwater, and I approve this message, paid for by Rainwater for Indiana.
The Sundown Gardens Fall Open House is Saturday. Local craft vendors 11 to 3, Hamilton County Llamas 11 to 1, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
Oh, boy, there it is. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. The dude is in for Rob, who is off today. But there it is. It's the remix. It's the club version.
The dance mix.
The dance mix. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. It's a remix trend that is taking over TikTok.
Reach out to the city manager there. He told us there had been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
People on television.
Let me just say here, this is the
people on television said my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
So how long does this trend have? If you go on any social media right now, you'll see all sorts of AI memes and pictures of Trump with ducks and cats and dogs, and they're in their military gear, and then people are posting pictures of their actual animal with the audio of that overlaid. So I give this trend through the weekend, and then we're moving on.
I think this is at least through the weekend.
You think so?
I think this one, look, this is the most 2024 story ever. It starts the baseline, illegal immigrants, obviously a huge problem. We've been talking about it for years. You got cats and dogs. Everybody loves their pets and cats and dogs. Trump mentions it during the debate in front of 65 million people. David Muir, falsely, by the way, tries to fact check him during that and saying there's no reports of this, when in fact there's police reports, there's 911 calls of citizens, there's people that have spoken out at council meetings and said that this is happening. Whether or not it's true, I don't know, but there are certainly reports of it. And then this flooding of social media that, whether you call it memes or videos or whatever, it is just the most 2024 story I've ever seen.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of people talking in their city council meeting. There's been a lot of reports of the traffic violations that have been happening because a lot of the people in the area don't have a license, and 4 to 5 accidents per day, and they don't have insurance. And then there was one Springfield man, he said that he was landlords are kicking out longtime residents out of their homes because the government is paying triple the rent for the immigrants, and it's just become a mess. So it's the entire issue is not even about the cats and dogs. It's about what this immigration and the open border is doing to smaller communities like Springfield, Ohio.
Yeah, and it just came out. So John Legend, the singer John Legend, is from Springfield, Ohio, and he came out this morning and said, he said, urging Ohio residents in Springfield to embrace the 15,000 Haitian immigrants that have been moved into that city. And of course, he's doing that from his $17 million mansion in Beverly Hills. That's what really it makes me so sick of this, is the elitist politicians, the elitist musicians and actors and celebrities that can sit on their castle on the hill, wiping their tears with $100 bills, telling us common folks how we should live our lives and how we should
act. This doesn't affect them at all. They're saying that the food pantries in the area are running out of food, the homeless shelters are overrun, and the emergency rooms, that's another thing. People are going in there, healthcare. They don't have insurance, so who is paying for all of this?
You are.
Yes, and
Taxpayers.
So are you, and so is Kevin, and so are you as you're driving down the car down 465. I mean, this is affecting all of us everywhere. Now, ABC, they posted Kamala Harris's closing statement and also Donald Trump's closing statement on TikTok. Now, here's the difference in the numbers. Harris got 4 million views and 200,000 likes. Trump got 18 million views and 1.4 million likes.
And what's so impressive about that is if you were to look at all the social media platforms together, it's clear that they lean liberal. I mean, yeah, okay.
Well, especially TikTok.
Especially TikTok. But, Twitter's moved a little farther right since Elon bought it and all that. But if you were to roll them together, they're clearly liberal. TikTok clearly has a liberal bent. So the fact that Donald Trump is pushing 4 times the engagement on essentially the same piece of content that Kamala Harris is doing, really speaks to the fact of it goes back again to this election is all about Trump. And are you excited about Trump? And do you love Trump? And are you excited to go out there and vote for him? Or the opposite, which is, do you hate Trump and you want to go out there and vote for whoever else is next?
So I'm curious, do you think that song is actually a good song? These people, they get these clips and then they make the remixes. And I'm like, is this something that potentially could stick around as a radio hit?
I think that's a bit of a stretch, but anything's possible in 2024.
They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the cat.
I do like seeing pictures of Donald Trump holding kittens and puppies and ducks.
Look,
it's an endearing image, regardless of what it stands for.
For as ridiculous as everything about this story is, that doesn't mean it's not effective. That doesn't mean that it's not effective. And so when you see memes blasted everywhere of AI generated, but of these, beautiful dogs, with signs that say,
"Save me, Trump.
Save me, vote for Trump." That buries in people's subconscious, and there's a lot of this that is effective. So I expect the Trump campaign, to try and ride this train for as absolutely long as they can, because I think it's working for him, because it brings back that core issue of immigration and the problems that are created by immigration. Kamala was the border czar, did nothing about it. It's been a complete disaster, and this just reinforces that in everybody's memory. And immigration's kind of taken a back seat. If you remember a year ago, all the surveys about what people in this country are concerned of, what's the number one problem? It was the border, it was immigration. Okay, so now some other things have kind of filtered in. Immigration's just as big a problem today as it was a year ago. It's just that the media and the public in general might not be as focused on it as it used to be. If this brings them back to that is an absolute winning strategy for Trump all day long.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC. Good morning.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back. stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right. Enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit diamondsdirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
There will not be a second. It's 69 and mostly cloudy downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Donald Trump says he will not be debating Kamala Harris a second time. The Republican presidential candidate went on Truth Social yesterday and claimed that he won this week's debate against Harris. Trump will be giving a press conference later this morning at his golf course in California. Airplane makers in Seattle are on strike.
33,000 of those Boeing union employees agreed to go on strike after the manufacturing giant and the union had been in contract negotiations for the past week. This comes after the workers rejected the company's new contract offer because it didn't include the 40% pay hike that they were asking for, among other provisions. This is the first strike since the financial crisis in 2008, and it could throw a major wrench in Boeing's already fragile supply chain.
Fox's Lauren Simonetti. Today is Friday the 13th. While just a normal day for many of us, Western tradition and many slasher movies tell us that it could be a little unlucky. If you're someone who is superstitious, you might want to avoid walking under a ladder, breaking a mirror, or opening an umbrella indoors. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Once again, mixed to start the day. The Dow is up 95 to 41,241, and the S&P 500 is up 8 to 5,611, and the NASDAQ is down at 23 to 19,424. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Sometimes it feels like it's next to impossible being a teenager these days.
There's so much uncertainty, pressure, and comparison.
That's why I'm so thankful to be a student athlete. I'm Lena Jones from Plymouth High School.
And I'm Whitman Horton from Crawfordsville High School. High school sports surround student athletes with people who can build us up when we struggle.
Our coaches mentor us in the game and in life.
Our teammates become our best friends as we work together.
We have support from everyone around us. Managers, parents, fans, our entire communities.
It really does take a village because they all contribute. They all make sacrifices. They all want to see us succeed.
Having people who have our back and believe in us lifts us up unlike anything else.
I am IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig. Be a champion of high school sports and the encouraging environment it provides by buying a ticket to your school's athletic events. This is supporting student athletes. This is believing in high schools. This is your IHSAA.
After college, Mike Braun could have gone anywhere. He chose to move back to his hometown of Jasper, Indiana. There, he started a small business, kept his head down, worked hard. and turned his small business into a national company, employing thousands of Hoosiers. He'll use that same determination for us. Lead the charge on lowering the price of gas, groceries, energy. Take on the big healthcare companies to increase healthcare access and lower costs. And Mike will improve education across our state by increasing school choice. Mike will make our streets safer, back the blue, and stop illegal immigration if the federal government won't. Because Braun believes every Hoosier should be safe and secure in their community. As governor, Braun will continue working for Hoosiers. Because when you're Mike, working hard is just what you do. Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So what is Rob Kendall's favorite part of the show, Jim?
His favorite part of the, I know what his least favorite part of the show is. His least favorite part of the show is coming in here every single day and having to tell people that he was right.
Right. Okay, so Rob's out today and Jim is filling in, but you know, this came across my feed last night, and I thought, darn it, he did it again. He was right. So Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, has abandoned his plans to attach the SAVE Act to the funding bill because he said they don't have the consensus to the vote. Now, this is a guy who's been a very staunch supporter of the SAVE Act, and he didn't have the vote, so now he just completely is going to abandon it. And what? They're going to move on with a continuing resolution for spending to keep the government open.
Of course they are. New boss, same as the old boss. What did Kevin McCarthy do last time? He had Joe Biden over a barrel when it came to negotiating the government shutdown, and he completely caved.
Yeah.
Just like every other Republican Speaker of the House for the last 15 or 20 years. They are going to sign that continuing resolution. They will not hold the Democrats accountable. They will not reduce government spending. They will not include the SAVE Act on any of this. It is new boss, same as the old boss.
He said, I want any member of Congress in either party to explain to the American people why we should not ensure that only U.S. citizens are voting in U.S. elections. He has so much conviction, though, that he's willing just to drop it and continue on with the spending.
Just continue on with the spending. I mean, Todd Young signed the CHIPS Act, and we signed the Inflation Reduction Act, and they had Republican support on both of those things, and trillions of dollars were spent. And this is all because we are not holding our politicians accountable. They will keep doing this because it works for them. Doesn't work for us, doesn't work for the country, but it works for them as politicians because they get to spend all the money, legalized vote buying, and they get to stay in power.
Okay, so Donald Trump announced yesterday that he won't debate Kamala Harris again.
So because we've done 2 debates and because they were successful, there will be no 3rd debate.
Yep.
It's too late anyway. The voting's already begun. You got to go out and vote. We got to vote. This is going to be the most important vote in the history of our country.
So he said when a prize fighter loses a fight, the first words out of his mouth are, I want a rematch. And he's saying that's what Harris is saying. And he's like, nope. Done.
And it's a good line from Donald Trump. It's a bunch of BS. We know Donald's not a good debater. He's never been very good at debating. He could pull it off in the primaries, and he certainly pulled it off in the 2016 primaries because he broke the mold. He said outrageous things. It got people's attention, and people loved him for it. But he's too much of a mature politician now and too much of a poor debater to have any benefit for going to a 3rd debate. So it's actually smart on his part because I don't see any upside for him in going for that 3rd debate. He should have stopped after the first one.
Or is he trying to get her to agree to his terms? He wants it on Fox. He wants specific moderators. He wants to know the questions in advance. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But is he setting her up to agree to his terms?
I don't think he wants to debate. I think he knows that he is likely not going to gain any ground in this election by debating again. Now, he can spend some time, ripping on Harris and making fun of her and saying it's her reason, it's her fault why she doesn't want to debate. But at the end of the day, he is a terrible debater, and there is no benefit to him in having a 3rd debate. He should have stopped after the first one.
So last night, Tim Walz, her VP choice, was in Grand Rapids, and he was doing a rally, and he had a little bit of a slip of a tongue. And I felt like after I heard that, where he was trying to call Harris a young prosecutor, it came out more like young prostituter. That's what it sounded like. I really feel like he's the guy we're going to go to for all of the nonsense audio clips in the future. Like he's our next Biden.
Tim Walz, our new jackpot, our new mother lode of ridiculous audio clips.
Right, new things that are going to be cringeworthy. We're going to lean to him.
Let's hope so. I kind of feel like there's this gaping hole without a Biden gaffe every single day that we can play on this show.
So Kamala Harris said when she was on the campaign trail that Trump will weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies.
He who has vowed that if reelected, he'll be a dictator on day one. That he will weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies.
Yeah.
And has called for the, quote, termination of the Constitution of the...
Okay, so isn't that exactly what her party did to him?
You better thank a union member for weaponization of the DOJ. Yes, what's the difference? So what? The Dems have been doing this against Trump. It's just like you and Rob have been talking about for years. There's no difference between the Dems and the Republicans for the most part. Yeah, if Donald Trump wins, I think he's going to use the DOJ to go after his political enemies. Just like the Democrats have done to him with, the mainstream media and the political elites had no problem with them going after Trump. Think about it. Go back to 2021, 2022. Remember that. Trump was done. He was cooked. He was irrelevant. We were talking about DeSantis running away with the primary easily. It was DeSantis and Nikki Haley. Donald Trump's polling numbers were in the absolute toilet. He wasn't a threat to anyone. There was no E.J. Carroll lawsuit. There was no Alvin Bragg lawsuit. There was no Fannie, what you talking about, Willis lawsuit in Georgia. There was none of that.
Right.
It wasn't until Trump started running for president again and going up in the polls, and it wasn't until Trump won the primaries, it wasn't until Trump was a threat again, then all of these lawsuits and indictments started happening. If you're a never Trumper, just be honest with yourself for a minute. There were no lawsuits against Trump when he wasn't a threat. No lawsuits when everyone thought DeSantis was going to be the next nominee. They absolutely weaponized the DOJ against Donald Trump. Do not be surprised if he does the same thing if he wins this election.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Shannon Sharpe. He allegedly accidentally went live on Instagram while he was getting busy, and he claimed that he got hacked.
Okay, so Shannon Sharpe, a former NFL player, really a great player. He was kind of one of those guys, the tight end role traditionally in football was all about blocking, and you were just a lineman. But he was part of those guys, Antonio Gates, Shannon Sharpe, that really took the tight end role to the next level where they became an offensive threat and catching the ball, won a Super Bowl. He's a Hall of Famer. I mean, Shannon Sharpe's a well-known guy. He's been on Fox. He's been on,
ESPN.
ESPN. He's been on a lot of these, does the talk show thing and that sort of stuff. I don't know how you accidentally go live on Instagram while you're having relations with somebody else. I use social media a lot. I built my entire business on the backbone of social media. I use an incredible amount. I create video content. I go live all the time. I'm very familiar with how social media works. I don't see how you accidentally go live while you're having relations with somebody else. And it's not nearly as salacious as it sounds because it was really just audio. It was like the camera was pointed at a door or something like that, whatever it was. But so it's just the audio. But
you can tell from the audio what's going on.
You could. I'm just going to say somebody's butt was getting slapped at one point. And it was clear that was happening. And I'm not sure whose butt was getting slapped and who was the slapper and who was the slappee. And there were a lot of other noises that it was clear what was going on.
Okay, so is this an issue with maybe the Bluetooth settings where it just magically turned on?
Just Bluetooth went into Instagram. No. It's like 7 clicks into Instagram before you can go live. It's not just something where you accidentally hit the button and, oh my gosh, I'm live on Instagram in front of everybody. This isn't a Bluetooth accident.
He said he got hacked as well.
That's more likely. than accidentally going live on Instagram. Getting hacked is much more likely than accidentally going live on Instagram.
And how about his coworker who had the first name as the woman who was in the video?
So you can hear somebody mention the name Michelle. He was obviously with a woman named Michelle. And there's a very famous sportscaster named Michelle Beadle who worked at Fox and ESPN, worked with Shannon Sharp in a lot of areas, and she was in a joking way forced to come out on social media yesterday with the Shaggy line. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, wouldn't you do the same thing?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Me.
Yep. Nope. Not it. Somebody else. Find another Michelle to tag this one too.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So you had a comment about Dave Grohl. We talked about this yesterday. Rob and I did. That's Jim, who's filling in for Rob today. And Dave Grohl came out and he admitted that he not only had an affair outside of his 21-year marriage, but the affair baby mama had a child. So he is fathered a baby out of wedlock.
Yeah, and everybody's first reaction, including Rob's and a bunch of other people I talked to, was like, sarcastically, really, a rock star is nailing chicks he's not married to. There's a big shocker. I'm surprised. But you've really got to understand, Dave Grohl has built this image on social media and through some documentaries as being a big family man. Tons of cute content out there on social media and YouTube with him playing with his kids and talking about his family. And there's this famous, adorable clip where he's like trying to finish his album and his daughter's like, but Daddy, I want to go swim in the pool. And he's like, well, you got to wait. I got to finish recording. But Daddy, I want to swim in the pool. So he has curated this image as a family man. And when your livelihood is based on your public image, millions of dollars at stake, that's not an accident. That was intentional for some reason, that he wanted to curate this image of a family man as part of all of this content that's out there.
He was the anti-Kurt Cobain.
Exactly. Well, and the anti-rock star. I mean, nobody would be outraged or shocked or upset if Mick Jagger did this. Mick Jagger does what Mick Jagger does.
And Mick Jagger's never claimed to be the family man.
Exactly. Mick Jagger's going to go Mick Jagger. That's not a surprise. But Dave Grohl has presented this family man image going back 10, 15 years now. So that's why people are shocked that this has come out now.
All right, here's a clip of Dave Grohl talking about fatherhood.
Well, my day starts at like about 5:45. So I get up and I get in the shower and I get my act together, and then I got to get them up out of bed, but then I got to get the snack packs going, and while I'm getting the snack packs going, they come into the kitchen, then I get the breakfast going. Once they've had breakfast, I get them dressed, and they get dressed, and I get the backpacks and the snack packs into my minivan, and then I get them in the minivan, and then I sit in traffic for 45 minutes, and then I get them to school, and then I drive 45 minutes back to my house, and then I start my day.
So you're correct. He is portraying this. I'm the dad. Can you imagine?
Minivan? Come on, minivan.
Do you think that's
I'd like a fact check on that. I think a minivan tells the nice family man story, but I think at the very least he's driving an SUV. Come on.
Exactly.
Minivan, Dave.
Exaggerating just a little bit. He needs room for his guitars.
Right. How can I fit my Marshall stacks in here if I don't have a minivan? Kevin, you have a van. You've got your band. I see that there's band implications for having a van.
Yeah, for a drummer, it's great to have a van, but I don't think he doesn't have a van.
He's successful enough that he's got 18-wheelers to haul all his gear wherever he needs to take it to. But this is why people are so upset, because Dave Grohl played you. He played just like politicians play you. Every single day, Dave Grohl played you. He pushed this image that I'm a family man, I love my wife, and I love my kids, and my wife and I have been married for 20 years, and aren't I this great anti-rock star guy? No, he's not. He's a dirtball, just like the rest of them.
He did what they all do, right?
Gosh, played all of us, and that's why people are so upset about this, because of this image.
So his wife, Jordan Bloom, is apparently being consoled by Kate Hudson. So
well, there's another great example. She was married to the lead singer of the Black Crowes, and he did the exact same thing, and they divorced a long time ago. So that's not a surprise. They obviously have a lot in common.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel Show. Oh, baby, it's Beer Sample Friday. We cracked the mic at 3:06. The biggest stories of the day, a lot of laughs, and Casey Daniels is on Celebrity Beer Bong, 93 WIBC.
Cindy Carrasco has spent a career holding the powerful accountable. As Indiana's Inspector General and Director of the State Ethics Commission, Cindy fought waste, fraud, and abuse wherever she found it. Cindy also combated wrongdoing in state government, which meant standing up and doing the right thing even if it wasn't popular. Now, as our state senator, Cindy Carrasco continues to fight on behalf of all Hoosiers by improving the quality of our children's education, providing tax relief for everyone, and working to make our communities safe by getting law enforcement the resources they need to fight crime, violence, and keep fentanyl away from our families. It's why Cindy has been endorsed by the Indiana Fraternal Order of Police, State Police Alliance, and the Professional Firefighters of Indiana. Because they know that Cindy has their back, and we know she has ours. Vote for more government transparency, better schools, lower taxes, and safer streets. Vote Cindy Carrasco for State Senate.
Paid for by Cindy for Senate.
The hot summer and the hot deals are coming at Tom Roush Lincoln. 0% for 60 months is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Plus get an additional $4,000 off MSRP. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair 70 available. So get in here for one of those hot summer deals at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
For well-qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24401. MSRP 107,425. Stock number L24284. MSRP is 43,435. See dealer for complete details.
Attention, we have some delightful news, and it's kind of a big deal. You're invited to the first WIBC Pop-Up Pickleball Social, presented by Franciscan Health at Craig Park in Greenwood, Saturday, September 28th. Sign up for the Pickleball Clinic. See your favorite personalities pick up their paddles, plus open play and kids activities. All the details are at WIBC.com. Get in the game, but to stay out of the kitchen.
Oh, I see what you did there.
With Franciscan Health and 93 WIBC.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. That's why our Lowe's Red Vest associates can help with game time decisions. Plus, use in-store mode on the Lowe's app to find what you need. Under pressure at home and want it soon? Order online by 2 p.m. to get it same day. Same day valid on eligible in-stock items and select zip codes only, subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. Exclusions and more terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go. Would you like fries with that? Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Donald Trump held a rally at a building that has her name on it, and needless to say, she was not happy about it. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC, and in for Rob today is the dude. So there's a building in Tucson, Arizona that's named after Linda Ronstadt. And when she found out that Donald Trump was going to have an event there, woo, she got mad. She sent out a message on Facebook, and she said, "It saddens me to see the former president bring his hate show to Tucson. I don't just deplore his toxic politics, his hatred of women and people of color, his criminality, dishonesty, and ignorance." She just goes on and on and on and on about how much she dislikes Trump. However, she was okay having a building named after her until it was something she didn't like happening at that building.
This is always the problem when you name buildings after people. It reminds me of the Enron scandal from 25 years ago. The baseball stadium in Houston that the Astros played at used to be called Enron Park, and Enron paid a whole bunch of money to sponsor that building, and then it turned out Enron was this awful, evil company that stole from its shareholders and from everybody and was manipulated, and people went to jail, and here the Houston Astros are stuck playing in Enron Park even after that story broke. You're always in danger whenever you've got a building named after something or somebody that what happens in that building doesn't mesh with what you'd like to be happening in that building.
She did go on to say, in response to his visit, she will be voting for Harris in November.
Well, thank goodness that we got Linda Ronstadt's opinion on the election coming up. We can add it to Taylor Swift's opinion on the election coming up. And going back to Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters, and they wouldn't let Donald Trump use his song. Finally, we've got Linda Ronstadt's endorsement for the upcoming election, and no shock that she's going with Kamala Harris.
And I know that that's going to sway you as a voter, right? Oh, who is Linda Ronstadt voting for? Who is she supporting?
You know,
I was on the fence. I was undecided. But she did have that one song.
What's so ridiculous about
40
this?
years ago.
If I was having a debate with somebody about who the greatest singer-songwriters of the 70s are, Linda Ronstadt's a pretty good expert in that area. Linda Ronstadt has no level of expertise when it comes to political, politicians and politics, as does Taylor Swift and all these other people. Can we please just stay in our lanes on these sorts of things? Nobody's coming to me for classic French cooking advice. You know why? I don't know anything about classical French cooking. And I certainly, if there was some sort of classical French cooking story, I wouldn't be all over social media going, oh, you're making that souffle wrong, you idiot. No, I don't know anything about souffles. And I don't know. You know how to make souffles. I've seen it.
Chocolate souffle, vanilla souffle, cheese souffle. That's really good.
So I wouldn't sit there in our kitchen at home while you're making a souffle and be like, you sure those eggs are tepid enough to be able to mix in with that hot water or that heavy cream? Hey, I think you may be using too much chocolate. And no, I wouldn't do that because I don't know anything about French cooking. So I keep my mouth shut about French cooking other than I'll eat it and go, yeah, this tastes really good.
Yeah, I like it.
How about you stay in your lane?
Can you make that chocolate souffle again?
Yeah.
By the way, when it comes to souffle, it is all about the eggs.
It's fabulous.
You were close, but you know that from watching, not from doing.
I don't know anything about it. That's why I don't talk about souffles and I don't talk about French cooking. It's why Linda Ronstadt and Taylor Swift shouldn't talk about politics because they don't know anything about it, and it just makes them look silly with all of this.
So you can ask them about writing a song or playing guitar.
If I want to know
governing.
If I want to know how to do stadium tours, Taylor Swift's the first person I'm calling. She's outstanding at it. She goes all over the world, puts on these amazing shows, very entertaining. People pay thousands of dollars to go. She's a billionaire because of it. Great. That's what you're good at, Taylor. Excellent. I will ask you if I ever need to put on a stadium tour.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. I don't want to know about your politics because you're not a political expert.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Come what may to Blue Bayou, where the folks are fine.
Pat Sullivan here with Michaela from the Michaelis Corporation. If you see mold growth in your home or business, you need to get it checked out by a professional. Michaela, why should someone with mold call Michaelis?
Michaelis is a local and family-owned business for over 39 years. Our inspections are free and we're IICRC certified. Michaelis will sample the mold and has full remediation services if needed. Many times it is not needed, but we want to ensure it is not a dangerous type of mold.
It's important to know what you're dealing with, and should it be something that is a problem, does Michaelis help with the insurance process for mold remediation?
Absolutely. We handle working with insurance throughout the process to give you peace of mind.
If you suspect mold, call the Michaelis Corporation. Water, storms, fire, and mold. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIXED-INDY. That's 844-FIXED-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back, stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right, enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit diamondsdirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Denny Smith for Sundown Gardens. This Saturday is the annual Sundown Gardens Fall Open House. Special open house sales, giveaways, local craft vendors from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., and the Hamilton County Llamas from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And these great specials are in place all week. 30% off herbaceous perennials and 50% off pottery. The greenhouse and nursery are full of fall plants. Celebrate fall at Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. SundownGardens.com.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center by offering the expert, compassionate care you need.
When I was at my lowest, I would have 2 or 3 nurses come in to give me a pep talk, telling me it's okay to feel this way. It's normal, but you have us to support you and you will get through this.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the mayor of Indy says he'll cooperate but will not be releasing documents to the public. Plus, the charges are now upgraded for a woman in jail in Bloomington and how your lawmakers are trying to protect more of the country's farmland. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Going to 2 more battleground states. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump will rally in Nevada the day after campaigning in Arizona, saying,
because we've done 2 debates and because they were successful, there will be no third debate.
But Vice President Harris said in North Carolina Trump's unfit to be elected again.
And I believe we owe it to the voters to have another debate.
And Fox's Brian Yennis reports.
In their first post-debate campaign stops, Harris and her running mate Tim Walz openly mocked former President Trump's debate performance.
He's in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, where there will be a Harris rally today.
Vice President Kamala Harris has spent more time in Pennsylvania than any other battleground. Polls show is a neck-and-neck tied race.
Boeing's rough year got worse after midnight as the company's airplane manufacturing remains under scrutiny. Some production is now shutting down after 33,000 Boeing workers went on strike in Washington State and Oregon.
I believe that we all want a better future, and in order to have that, we have to have better support in our company. And it goes the same for them. If they want a better future, they got to know that their workers are being supported properly.
They rejected Boeing's offer of a 25% pay raise over 4 years. They want 40% in 3 years and Boeing to bring back pensions. Britain is calling completely baseless the spying allegations against 6 diplomats Russia has kicked out of the country right before Britain's prime minister goes to the White House this afternoon discussing Ukraine with President Biden.
Russian President Vladimir Putin warning NATO is at risk of going to war with Russia. That's if Europe and the United States give the okay for Ukraine to attack Russian territory with long-range Western missiles. President Putin says Moscow would view that as direct participation.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. North Korea flexed its military muscle again. The day after tests launching more missiles, it published photos of a secret facility where it enriches uranium. The leaders called for more nuclear bombs to expand their arsenal. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He won't make them public. Radar is clear. It's partly cloudy, 69 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Indy Mayor Joe Hogsett says there are documents that prove sexual harassment accusations against his former Chief of Staff Thomas Cook were dealt with back in 2017. On Thursday, though, he said that he won't be releasing those documents.
To provide you the documents would undermine the very purpose of why we are gathered here today.
That's because he wants to make sure any complaint of sexual harassment is both anonymous and confidential. A shooting at a Northside apartment complex, Jake McDaniel reports.
Police responded to a disturbance call early Friday around 12 o'clock and found the man who was shot and killed in the apartment hallways on Lewis Street. That's just off I-70 opposite the Frank and Judy O'Bannon Soccer Park. The suspect is in custody and police believe there were no witnesses or ongoing threats in the apartment during the shooting. Jake McDaniel, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
You may remember when Briley Turner stabbed a man in an apartment in Bloomington in late August. That man had been in the shower when she attacked him in a fit of rage, say police. Well, now he has died from his injuries. With that, prosecutors are upgrading the charges she faces from attempted murder to murder. Hoosier lawmakers are pushing hard for better oversight of the buying and selling of American farmland. The reason is because of concerns over foreign adversaries like China buying up U.S. farmland. Indiana Congressman Jim Baird.
Investors from Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Russia, and Venezuela under the Maduro regime hold about 95,000 acres of American agricultural land.
And he says that number is increasing quickly, and it poses a national security threat near U.S. military bases. Alex Palou will be looking to defend his IndyCar Series championship in the season finale at Nashville this weekend. Palou needs to finish 10th or better in Sunday's race to secure the championship. Will Power is the driver who is chasing him for the title. The green flag drops at 2:30. I'm Kirk Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Sinus pressure, congestion, snoring, being unable to sleep, being unable to breathe. Yep, it's another sinus infection. You've Googled, watched videos, tried over-the-counter sprays, medications, and home remedies, but nothing ever works. There must be some kind of treatment that can help, right? Indianapolis Sinus Center understands how draining it can be when you try treatment after treatment without any relief. That's why they've been serving and treating the community for over 50 years. Indianapolis Sinus Center has performed thousands of procedures and helped thousands of patients find lasting relief they didn't know was possible. Patients like you. If you've had enough of sinus pain, pressure, and congestion, schedule a visit with Indianapolis Sinus Center today. Call 317-528-9650 and take the first step toward breathing easy. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650 or visit IndianapolisSinusCenter.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Miss M's Home and Garden, Johnson County's Fall Nursery headquarters.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Well, good morning. It is Friday, September 13th. It's 5 minutes after 10. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall with the day off. He was forced into it. I told him, I am not going to have you taking an entire month off in December. So you got to start burning some of your vacation days now. So against his desire, he was forced out today. And I'm sure he's at home listening right now because that's what he does.
You know what he's doing? He's at home tweeting because I pulled up my Twitter and Rob's blowing up Twitter all over the place. He just can't help himself.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't get my opinions out on the air today. I'm going to get them out on Twitter.
As long as he gets them out somehow, right? So I have fact-checked it. It is, in fact, Friday, September 13th. Your name is, in fact, Jim. And let's talk about those fact-checkers, okay? So the media fact-checked all things on Donald Trump, everything he said during the debate. And doesn't that really just continue to make it clear that the press considers its job is not journalism, but rather to run interference and carry water for the Democrats?
The whole fact-checking thing is such a scam. It has been such a scam from the beginning. And keep in mind, the mainstream media hates you. They absolutely hate you, and they hate the fact that they are no longer the arbiters of information like they were for 100 years back before the internet and social media, and they cannot stand it. And so they created this thing called fact-checking. Like, you're going to tell something that's not true? We're going to let you know when you're saying something that's not true. But it turns out they stink at that, too.
Yeah, did you see that article about the Seattle Times? They were fact-checking things that Donald Trump said, and based on their very own reporting, they got community noted because their own fact-checking was wrong.
Yeah, so the Seattle Times is the big daily newspaper in Seattle, and you could pull this up on their Twitter. It was just yesterday they did this. Trump mentions about how, Antifa or whatever took over, big portions of the city back in 2020. It's a story we all know about. The Seattle Times got all high and mighty on their high horse and decided to tweet, well, that's not true, Donald Trump. Big portions of the city weren't taken over by Antifa and locked down and Community Notes hit them with one of their own articles from the Seattle Times from 2020 that talked about how huge sections of the city were taken over by Antifa.
So who's fact-checking the fact-checkers? And in this day and age, with everything like AI going on, we're almost to the point that unless you're there and you witness it with your very own eyes, Do you believe it?
It's difficult. Yeah, finding the truth is harder than it's ever been. But the poor fact checking continued. It happened during the debate. Donald Trump talked about how, that governor in Virginia, approved live, abortions after birth or during the birthing process, and David Muir was like, "Oh, there's no state in this country that allows that to happen." Well, actually, there is. The Daily Caller did a huge report on this in the state of Minnesota. They looked from 2020, a 1-year time period, just in 1 year. There were 8, and this is from publicly available abortion and medical information in the state of Minnesota. There were 8 failed abortions that took place where the baby was actually born, and in all 8 circumstances, that baby was left to die. But here you had David Muir felt he had to get up on his high horse, the elitist David Muir on his high horse. We're the arbiters of what is true and what is not true. And Donald Trump, that is not true. No, what you said isn't true, David Muir. It is extremely frustrating, and it is because the mainstream media feels like they have to do this because they're not the ones in charge of information anymore. They used to control the flow of all the information, and they don't anymore. And this is their answer and how they're trying to get that back.
Well, and it used to be that news would give you the information and you would form your own opinion, and now it's reversed. Now they give you opinion and you have to decipher what is actually news and information.
Right. I have to be the fact checker. When I hear David Muir say, "Oh, there's no state in the country that allows that to happen," I have to be the one to dig into it and find out that the Daily Caller actually dug into this and found the data and, to determine that, this actually does happen.
So we're at a point now, if you hear something and you didn't actually witness it yourself, you have to cite multiple sources to actually decipher is it true or not. And like I mentioned, with AI and so many people making jokes out on social media, is that real? Is that a joke? Is that AI? Is that real? Is that not real? So it's up to you to be a participant to figure out what is true and what is not true.
And it's happening more and more. I mean, it happened in that debate a ton. They fact, Donald Trump talking about they're eating the dogs, they're eating our cats, and they come out and say, "Oh, that's not happening." No, actually,
we asked the city manager, a bureaucrat who's just obviously going to peddle the correct message that he is being told to say.
Right, certainly doesn't want any public image of the city of Springfield to be about Haitian immigrants eating pets. Right. It reminds me of Hammer and Camp Atterbury and the story that they had a couple of years ago. And the local news, they asked the people who run Camp Atterbury, it's not happening there. Yeah, that's because they're going to tell you what they want you to hear. You've actually got to do some journalism. You've got to do some investigation. And with the whole eating the pets thing, okay, we don't know if it's true, but there is some evidence there. There are police reports. There are 911 calls. There are citizens standing up at council meetings and saying this is happening. So while the truth is uncertain on that story, to fact check it as being false is just absolute hypocrisy.
Okay, so now there's this former top Clinton advisor. His name is Mark Penn, and he's calling for an internal probe of ABC, saying that they rigged the debate against Donald Trump. I know you're saying,
shocker.
Yeah, I'm not surprised about this. But he said he actually thinks that they should do a full internal investigation, hire an outside law firm, and that they should do this for all debates because of the importance and the gravity that debates have.
Here's another great example. Why is Donald Trump saying that there's not going to be a third debate? Because the game is rigged against him. Why would you agree to another debate when the game is rigged against you? And it looks like that may have been the case here with the ABC debate.
Okay, and now there's this whistleblower who came out, and they're saying, you know what, there's all sorts of affidavits that are being signed with lawyers, and perhaps even that Harris was given sample questions before the debate.
Shocker!
So what did they write the questions, spit it through ChatGPT and say, rewrite these? And they gave her those and said, they'll be similar. I mean, she had to know in general what the questions were going to be, but to have actual sample questions handed to her, are we going to fact check that?
And good on this former Clinton aide, a Democrat, for coming out and saying this. There are still people out there, not many of them, and most of them aren't willing to speak up, but good for him coming out here and saying, look, we've got to look into this because there may have been a problem, and this is really bad news if this turns out to be true.
So Donald Trump was truthing about his crime stats, and he was doing his own fact-checking. And, of course, at his rally last night, he had a comment about Kamala Harris and also Joe Biden.
There's never been anything like what's happening to our country in history, because no leader of a country is as stupid as the two people that are leading our country.
He also went on to announce a new initiative. This is not the no tax on tips. This is he's going to ban taxes on overtime work if he's elected president. He said he wants to incentivize hard workers. Check this out.
I'm also announcing that as part of our additional tax cuts, we will end all taxes on overtime. You know what that means? Think of that. Think of that. Think of that. That gives people more of an incentive to work. It gives the companies it's a lot easier to get the people. And, you know, I went to some economists, great ones, and I said, what do you think? They said, it would be unbelievable. You'll get a whole new workforce by doing that. No taxes on overtime.
Okay, so under that plan, he said that anybody who works over 40 hours a week would not be taxed on the hours over 40. And he said this specifically applies to police officers and nurses and factory workers, construction workers, truck drivers, machine operators. And I'm sure those people who are in those vocations are very excited to hear that. It appeals to many people. However, and here's where the but comes in, if you're a big Donald Trump fan, this is Donald Trump picking winners and losers.
All right, I'm going to go back to the first Donald Trump clip and then talk about overtime, because the first clip we played, he did something brilliant. And he talked about how these are the two worst people ever running our country. Mm-hmm. He needs to keep repeating that.
Because he's tying Biden and Harris together.
He's tying Biden and Harris together. And it's those little things like that. When in your speech you talk about the two of them have done an awful job. Both of them are the worst people to ever run this country. He needs to keep doing. I think that's a winning strategy for him to keep tying Kamala to Biden, because he's got to remind people. Because, of course, we've all almost forgotten. I forget, it seems like, that Biden is still the president. He's got to keep tying those two together. Regarding overtime, it may be a good political strategy to go like this, but I hate everything about that proposal from Donald Trump, because it is, again, the government picking winners and losers. We're not just going to give some tax breaks to all Americans. I'm going to select just specific ones that I want to give tax breaks to. That's why Rob always says legalized vote buying. That's exactly what Donald Trump's doing there. He did it with the tips issue before, because he needs to win Nevada, and there's a lot of tips going around with the gaming industry in Nevada, so he's like, I'm not going to tax tips. And now he comes out and says, I'm not going to tax overtime. Well, good for those people that receive overtime and are in those situations, but what about the guy that's making $40,000 a year and is salaried and gets paid the same amount whether he works 30 hours that week or 60 hours that week?
Yes.
Absolutely no benefit to him. This is just another example of the government picking winners and losers.
How about we just eliminate income tax altogether?
Yeah, that's great. Maybe we'll get there in 100 years, but just take some small steps to get there that benefit everyone. Quit carving up the whole country into select groups and giving them specific benefits as opposed to everybody benefiting from your tax proposals.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC. That is the dude, Jim Roberts, in for Rob today. And do you know your First Amendment rights? Can you name all three branches of government?
Yes and yes.
Yes, you can. Many people can't. If you're scratching your head right now, you're not alone. We're going to talk about a recent survey that came out. That is on the way. And also,
I'm going to guess the results aren't good.
Not so good.
Not so great. Nothing there to make you proud to be an American.
Not so hot. Also, what is McDonald's up to? And the house where Tom Hanks once lived is up for sale. Those topics are on the way from 93 WIBC. This could be one of the most consequential votes of our lifetime.
Who will be our next governor?
U.S. Senator.
Our next president. Who will represent us in the General Assembly?
You have a voice with your one vote.
Unhappy with the current state of affairs? You can do something about it. Voting is one of our most important rights as Americans.
It's how you can stand up for your beliefs,
your values,
and for future generations.
A reminder to make your vote count on November 5th.
November 5th.
November 5th.
From WIBC
and Urban One.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
Seems like there's more identity theft in the news every day.
Another major healthcare breach was reported today, resulting in the exposure.
Now, 1 in 4 consumers have been a victim of identity.
That's because there are endless places that could accidentally expose you to identity theft in a breach or simply by mistake. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Will you be there?
This is just such a prestigious place and such hallowed ground.
Reigning Brickyard 400 champ and 2024 Indy 500 Rookie of the Year, Kyle Larson will try to make history, racing and winning the Indy 500 presented by Gamebridge and the NASCAR Coca-Cola 600 in the same day.
I love you, Indiana fans. How about we come back next May and try and kiss these Greeks on the IndyCar?
Don't miss your chance to see Kyle Larson take on two-time defending champion Joseph Newgarden and all the stars of IndyCar at the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500.
See you guys all next May.
For ticket info, visit ims.com.
Attention, we have some delightful news, and it's kind of a big deal. You're invited to the first WIBC Pop-Up Pickleball Social, presented by Franciscan Health at Craig Park in Greenwood, Saturday, September 28th. Sign up for the Pickleball Clinic. See your favorite personalities pick up their paddles, plus open play and kids' activities. All the details are at WIBC.com. Get in the game, but to stay out of the kitchen.
Oh, I see what you did there.
With Franciscan Health and 93 WIBC.
To celebrate Be Employee Owned, Be's offering employee pricing 60% off plus 18 months, no interest, no payment.
Proud to be employee owned. Trust me.
There's been a lot of discussion about celebrities and singers and athletes coming out and endorsing, and how much do they really know about government and the Constitution? How much do you know? Can you name all 3 branches of the U.S. government? I'm asking you.
Oh, that's a real question to me. Executive, legislative, and judicial.
Hey, congratulations.
Boom, nailed it. I'm smarter than most of the country.
Okay, so it is the Kendall and Casey show. It's 93 WIBC. That's Jim who's in for Rob today. So nearly 2/3 of Americans, 65%, can correctly name all 3 branches of government.
So 1/3 cannot.
1/3 cannot.
Okay.
But there's a new survey that came out, and things get a little murkier. Yes, that word.
Cloudier?
There we
Try
go.
that.
Thank you.
Try it again. Try it again and use cloudier.
Murkier.
No. Stop.
It gets worse when you talk about the First Amendment. Okay, so 74% say that they can name that it's freedom of speech, right?
Okay.
But the other 4 rights protected, only 39% can name the other ones. The other amendments.
But is this surprising? We see this every now and then. Every couple of years, somebody comes out with a study and talks about how dumb the American people are as it relates to knowing information about their own government. I mean, this is not anything new. This is a trend. And this is why politicians can pull the wool over our eyes so easily, because we have no idea how the government works. I always rail about this. When it comes to Supreme Court rulings, you see that, a Supreme Court ruling, like the abortion ruling, comes down, and the headlines are all, Supreme Court just took away our rights, and people say that, the Supreme Court's taking away our reproductive rights. No, that's not what the Supreme Court does. They don't grant rights. They don't take them away. All they do is rule on the Constitution and the existing laws that are written, and nobody seems to get that. People in the media don't get that. People, everyday Americans don't get that, so it is absolutely no surprise that while 74% or whatever it was could name that freedom of speech is in the First Amendment, they had no clue about freedom of press and freedom of religion and freedom to petition and freedom to assemble.
And right to bear arms and everything else that goes along with it. Okay, so this reminds me of this clip from Charlie Kirk. He was on a college campus and...
I love these, by the way. My TikTok feed is full of clips of Charlie Kirk just destroying college students.
So he said that most college kids don't understand the Constitution, but they're so arrogant and ignorant, they think they do. And so one guy is challenging him on it, and here's how it went down.
Well, no, so do you know who that audience is for?
For people who can't read it.
Yeah, that's a Constitution for third graders.
Yeah, why are you handing it out to college students?
Well, because the constitutional literacy of college students is the constitutional literacy of third graders.
I think that's false equivalency.
Well, hold on. Let's test your knowledge. Don't open it up. Right. What is the 10th Amendment? Okay, let's get easier. What's the 4th Amendment?
Isn't that the Note Quartering Act?
No, that's the 3rd Amendment.
Third.
Okay. The Constitution, when was it ratified?
1787.
Yeah, when was the Bill of Rights ratified?
1789.
1791. How many articles are there in the U.S. Constitution?
There's 8 articles.
7.
Oh, he was close.
What is Article 3 of the U.S. Constitution?
I just want to ask
No,
you a
no,
question.
but I'm just saying, so you came here, guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
You do not know more than a third grader about the U.S. Constitution, which is exactly what, these are the most elementary.
Do you think that it's important to have the backup knowledge here when you can read it and you can reference the points that you're trying to understand?
Of course, but we have explainers there because there are a lot of people, unfortunately like you, that even go to college that don't know the basics about their country.
Boom. So it comes down to, if you don't know your rights, you can't protect them. And if you don't understand how your government works, it's hard for you to hold your government and your representatives accountable.
This goes back to what I said earlier about me not knowing anything about French cooking, so I keep my mouth shut about French cooking. He obviously doesn't know much about the Constitution, despite the fact that I'm a college student. Yep, I got into college. I must be pretty smart. No. So stay in your lane. It's okay to admit if you're not an expert on something. I'm not an expert on tons of things. I can sit here for an hour and talk about all the things I know nothing about. But I'm not going to sit here and judge other people and challenge other people on those topics because I'm just not an expert in them.
Yeah, but in today's day and age with the internet and everything you've got at your hands, you can become an expert or at least do some research.
You can educate yourself, certainly, but I mean, these, like I said, my TikTok feed and Twitter feed are full of these videos of Charlie Kirk just destroying these college students on campus, and it's amazing how willing they are to sit up there and challenge him on these and just get verbally beaten down time and time again. It makes for great entertainment for me.
So McDonald's is extending their $5 value meal. They're going to extend it until December. And they say, well, they just want more people to keep on coming. They need more customers to come and eat McDonald's. You had McDonald's yesterday and you asked if I wanted some. And I thought about it for a second and then said, no.
Here's the good news. You and I have never eaten healthier in our entire lives than we do right now. We used to eat fast food a lot through a big chunk of our marriage and our lives, and we cook almost everything at home. And so a few weeks ago, I was out and I was coming home and I had a hankering for McDonald's. I had that itch, and I do like it every now and then.
Were you hungover?
No, I was stone cold sober. Stone cold sober and still wanted McDonald's. So I got McDonald's and it was great.
Yeah.
And it was really good. And I wanted those good times again. And so yesterday I was like, hey, I'm running some errands. I'm going to get McDonald's. You want something? And you're like, no, I'm good. So I got myself a quarter pounder of cheese and then the fries and a large Coke. And 30 minutes after eating it, you came home from the station and walked in the door, and I was like, I don't feel so good.
Yeah, no, how is that McDonald's? It's not sitting very well with me.
It's not sitting that great with me. But man, I do love fast food. But the older I get, the less of it my stomach can tolerate.
Yep. So the $5 meal deal, it's going to include that McDouble burger and the McChicken sandwich, the fries, and the chicken McNuggets and the small drink. They're going to continue that until December. And a new survey has ranked the top 5 fast food chains in America. Are you ready for this? Let's do a quick round of overrated, underrated.
Okay, overrated, underrated. Gotcha. Okay, hit me.
These are the best fast food chains in America, according to this study. Okay. And at number, you know what? I should go from bottom to top.
Yeah, you always go 5 to 1.
Yeah, okay. So let me get down to number 5 here. They've got Wendy's.
Wendy's is okay. I think Wendy's is properly rated. Their fries don't compare to McDonald's. Their fries are not that good, but their burgers are pretty good. Yeah.
I like it.
And a Frosty. Man.
You got to dip those fries in that Frosty. Get that salty and sweet combo together.
You have to. I don't. But I do like a Frosty without fries, and Frosty, the desserts is where Wendy's wins.
Okay, Chick-fil-A is sitting at number 4.
For as much as people love Chick-fil-A, I still think it's underrated. Every time I go, it is a home run. I love Chick-fil-A.
Number 3, In-N-Out Burger.
Massively overrated. Hugely overrated.
Yeah, the fries are extremely bland.
Horrible.
There's no
In-N-Out
salt
Burger?
on them.
Terrible.
Really?
It is, and their burgers are slightly better than McDonald's, I would say. But In-N-Out Burger is massively overrated.
Yeah.
Number 2, they've got Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen is underrated. You don't think of Dairy Queen. Obviously, they crush it. Dairy Queen Blizzard, Dilly Bars. I mean, that's about as good as it gets. But sneaky good on their food. Their burgers are pretty decent, and their fries are okay.
Yeah, the chicken strip basket's great.
Chicken strip basket. And you get the Texas toast.
Yeah,
with the
I
chicken
love
strip
that.
basket. That's okay,
now
Burger King's or Dairy Queen's underrated.
They've got them at number 2, so that's pretty high on their list. You're thinking in general Dairy Queen.
I'm thinking in general. I don't know what the criteria was for this survey, and so I don't know why Dairy Queen's number 2, but Dairy Queen isn't something that people usually frequently talk about when they're talking about, man, I love this fast food joint.
Yeah, okay, so in the number 1 spot, they have McDonald's.
I think McDonald's is underrated. I think people dog on
Even
McDonald's.
though it made you sick yesterday.
Still, it made me sick. That's still underrated. Their burgers are fine. The entrees are not. McDonald's shines with their fries. They're spectacular. Nobody does fries better
Cokes.
and their fountain Coke.
Yeah.
Nobody does Coke like McDonald's, and there's been studies, and McDonald's does their whole soda processing completely different than everybody else, down to the size of the straw makes the Coke taste better.
I like their nuggets there too.
Nuggets are okay. They're okay, but I think McDonald's.
As long as you get the ones that don't have freezer burn on them.
I think McDonald's gets a bad rap. I agree. Their entrees not the best, although I do love a McRib when it is available for a limited time. I do. That's a guilty pleasure of mine. But McDonald's is underrated because they crush it with fries and Coke.
Yeah, they're consistent.
Yeah. All right, we've got to get to your voicemails, and Kurt Darling has the news coming up next on 93 WIBC.
Hey, what's up? Hammer and Nigel here. We are both customers of Window Nation. Window Nation came out to the Hammer house. They measured everything multiple times. They got it right the first time. They were in, they were out, and now my house looks amazing, and my heating and air bill has gone down because of my awesome energy-efficient windows.
Yeah, Hammer, I had the same experience. Hey, you could buy 2 windows, get 2 free with 0 down and no interest for 24 months. 866-90Nation or windownation.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They say no. It's 71 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Boeing workers in Seattle have said no to the latest bargaining deal from the company, and now they're on strike.
This comes after the workers rejected the company's new offer because it didn't include the 40% pay increase that they were asking for. It included 25. This is the first strike at Boeing in 16 years, and it could throw a major wrench in the company's already fragile supply chain. The strike will likely lead to massive production delays at a time when Boeing is trying to increase production.
Fox's Lawrence Simonetti. Former President Trump continues to claim that Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, are taking people's pets and eating them at a rally in Tucson, Arizona yesterday.
They're taking the geese. You know where the geese are? In the park, in the lake. And even walking off with their pets. My dog's been taken.
City leaders in Springfield say there's no evidence of immigrants eating dogs or cats. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, Bill, where you been? You're overdue for a haircut.
Man, listen, my water pipes burst and flooded my house. Place a mess.
I've been staying with my daughter till I can figure out what to do.
You trying to fix it and move back in?
No way. It's too big a mess. It'll cost me tens of thousands of dollars. I ain't got that kind of money.
You trying to sell it then?
Well, that's what I'd like to do, but who's going to buy my house in this condition?
Did you call Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters bought our house when we were in a jam. We needed to move real quick. They closed fast and gave us cash.
Simple Quarters will buy in any condition?
That's right. They buy as is. You don't have to repair anything or clean anything out. It's simple.
What do I have to do?
Just call them. They'll do a quick walkthrough, then they'll make you an offer.
Simple Quarters is a local Christian company that loves to help people in difficult situations. Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME. Check us out at simplequarters.com.
If you used to hear a whole lot of this, but now you can barely hear this, you need to check out RelayIndiana.com and CapTel, the caption telephone. CapTel allows you to get your groove back when using the telephone. It uses voice recognition technology so you can read on a bright screen what the other caller is saying. Go to RelayIndiana.com and add clarity back into your conversations with CapTel, the caption telephone from Relay Indiana. Visit RelayIndiana.com now.
Have you lost Indiana Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
It's JMV. Save 30% off herbaceous perennials, 50% off pottery, and 20% off patio furniture this week at Miss M's Home and Garden on State Road 135 in Bargersville.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
It is the Friday edition of your voicemails at 317-684-8444. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. In for Rob Kendall today is the dude, Jim Roberts, in the studio. And we start off with a phone call about, you know who, that woman who endorsed Harris. The lady everybody's talking about, Taylor Swift.
Hello, Rob and Casey. You know, Taylor Swift has always had trouble choosing men. She says it in all of her songs and everything. Bad. Well, this time she essentially chose against a man. So that should be a good luck sign for us.
Or she just has a really bad habit of choosing. Maybe she chooses bad men and bad women.
Yeah, she's just a terrible decision maker, regardless of the gender.
Don't ever go gambling with her.
I think she's proved that out, though. She supported those 2 Democrats in Tennessee during the last election cycle, and both of them got boat raced and just absolutely crushed in those elections there. So back to Rob's point that he always said, I don't think really endorsements matter very much. They may move the needle a little bit, but Taylor Swift's endorsement is not swaying this election
now,
one way
what
or
it
the
is
other.
doing, though, it is getting a lot of people registered to vote, but it does matter. Are they registered in the right area? Will it have any effect? And if they register, does that mean they're actually going to show up on Election Day and go vote?
Look, I disagree with Rob on his position that endorsements don't matter at all. I don't think they matter a whole lot, but you're right. There are incremental benefits to endorsements. If nothing else, they help candidates raise more money. So that's the type of story you can tell to a potential donor. Hey, you know what? We got Taylor Swift on board. That's a big deal. She's the biggest star in the world. We're making progress and we're moving the needle here. How about you fork over about $5 million and we can help out a little bit more?
Or they can go directly to her and say, hey, we know you like us.
Right.
How about you give us some of your money?
Exactly. Do a fundraiser for us where you perform there. We'd raise billions.
She can put her money where her mouth is then.
Yeah, so I think endorsements do matter. They're not the end-all, be-all.
Okay, here's another phone call. Somebody wants to comment about Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
Hey, Rob and Casey. I was listening to your show earlier today. You're talking about Dave Grohl, in regards to his dark hair. Well, I'm 55, and my hair is pretty much the same color as it's always been. I don't have black hair, but my hair is basically brown. It has a little gray in it, but it's mostly, just hints of it. But it's still pretty dark for being 55, so don't discount his hair color because it may be real. Just to let you know.
Yeah. Okay. So does he color his hair? I don't know. His beard looks dark when he has his goatee and his different facial hair. It looks pretty dark as well.
He's got enough money to where he could have a team of people that are responsible for nothing but making sure he has no gray hair.
He's in the chair for 5 hours getting his hair done, huh?
Getting his hair did.
Or is he using that, what is it called, that shampoo for men?
How would I know what it's called? What are you asking for? How would I know what that shampoo is called that does an incredible job of removing gray hair?
Mm-hmm. You mean the one that's in our shower?
I started going gray at 30, and we're going to talk. Susan Beckwith at the end of the show is going to talk about aging gracefully. I have absolutely no interest in aging gracefully. I started going gray at 30. I was horrified by it, and I'm doing everything I can to prevent it.
I can't imagine what your hair would look like if you didn't use that.
I would look like
Steve. Is it Gray for Men, or what's it called?
Just for Men.
Just
maybe.
for men.
I've heard that there's a product out there called Just for Men, Touch of Gray, that works wonderfully.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would look like Steve Martin. I mean, I would have.
It would be white.
It would be white. I would look like I'm 87 years old. Absolutely not. I have no interest in aging gracefully, and you can't make me.
You're gonna fight it
every step of the way.
That's fine. You do you. You've got some facial hair that you're sporting. That's new. Right? You can see Jim right now if you want to go on YouTube and type in Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar. So how long are you gonna go with that beard, by the way?
Until you tell me it's got to go.
That's the right answer.
Yeah. Until you tell me it's got to go. The winter beard's just coming in a little bit early this year. I just started. I need another 2 or 3 weeks for it to come in full. But in my mind, I'm going to let it go for a while. Like, I'm going to be the James Harden. Like the James Harden, ridiculously stupid, big-looking beard.
The longer it gets, the softer it gets, which is nice. But I'm wondering...
I do it for you.
I'm wondering, is it easier when you have the facial hair? That way you don't have to shave every day? Is it like one less thing?
So there is less maintenance, less facial maintenance that takes place, but it is itchy. It is uncomfortable on occasion, and the pros and cons kind of neutralize each other.
As long as you're still exfoliating every day, for the rest of the skin that we see.
No, I don't know what that. I don't know what that is.
It looks like you could probably grow like a Pierce Brosnan kind of beard.
That would be good. Yeah,
like an older Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I like when things are stupid and dumb in my own personal life, and so I just want it to look as dumb and as stupid as possible. And man, I'm on my way.
Okay, you know why you're doing it? Because you can.
Because I can.
That's right. Okay,
I can.
Here's another phone call, and this one is regarding Rob Kendall's dog, Bruce.
Hello, Rob. This is Sue. I just heard about Bruce. I'd like to send my prayers to him. I understand how hard it is when you have an aging animal that is a member of the family. I have had several animals. In fact, I've had too many animals because they take them in every time they walk in my yard if they're stray. So I'm an animal lover, too. They're little people in disguise. They are smarter than people realize, and they just grab your heart. So I'll be praying for Bruce. Love you bunches.
That was nice. So Rob did tweet out yesterday, thank you to everyone who has prayed and checked on Bruce. We don't know what the future holds, but he's still with us. It means so much how many of you have cared about him all these years, with a really sweet photo of the two of them. So in case you missed it, Bruce, who is 10 years old, has been Rob's companion for many years, his bulldog, and he recently started getting a little aged, let's say, and they're trying to just help him along. And most importantly, I think in Rob's mind is that he wants Bruce to be comfortable and not in pain. And isn't that what we want for all of our pets as they get older?
Yeah, I've had pets my entire life. Grew up with them in our family and had many dogs, and that is the hardest part of pet ownership, is saying goodbye to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is very, very difficult because they become such a part of your daily life. So thank you for the prayers to Bruce, and please keep the prayers up for Bruce, and hopefully things will improve.
I did get a text that I haven't shared with you, Jim.
Hit me.
It said, Casey, new puppies have arrived, big or small, endless love and joy. Come visit us. Take one home today. No?
Maybe.
Maybe. You're not ready. We said goodbye to our 15-year-old miniature schnauzer earlier in the year, and that was incredibly hard.
Very, very difficult.
So hard.
And I think I still I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more time before it's pet season again in our house.
Okay. Well, we did have Percy the cat, which joined us.
Temporarily.
The kitten, but that's the daughter's pet, and she went with our daughter.
So we're gone. I do miss that cat.
I know.
And I'm not a cat person. In fact, I could.
That was the first cat either of us had ever been around.
You could say I've spent a lifetime hating cats.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, for the first time, there was a cat in my house, and man,
that little kitten.
That was a good cat. I don't know if it was just that cat specifically, or I have unfairly maligned cats my entire life. But man, that's a good cat.
All right, here's another phone call, and this one is about somebody's trip to a hospital.
Hey, I love you guys. And Casey, when I hear your voice, I see Roz from Frasier. Sorry, but that's anyway. A friend of mine was visiting her folks in Missouri, and they had to take the old man, the dad, to the hospital. He's 95 years old. Her mom is 85, and my friend is 65. And one of the first questions they asked in admitting was, do you have a gender preference pronoun? Yeah. Hopefully not coming to a doctor's office near you, but I just thought how humiliating for the person who has to ask that question, because, of course, their reaction was, what the F? But anyway, just thought I'd share that. That was in Festus, Missouri, but I don't know if that matters. But anyway, crazy world.
Yeah. So in regards to the Roz reference from Frasier, always like a Frasier reference. That's fine.
Always love a reference from a TV show that was based at a radio station.
Right.
I mean, such great history of that. Obviously, WKRP in Cincinnati, but Frasier was on the air and very successful for years. And then there was a great show called News Radio that actually Joe Rogan was in when he was a young baby actor. And there's been a lot of them. And yeah, Roz is a good reference. Roz was a solid character on that show.
I'll take that. She was an attractive woman as well.
She was, yeah.
Strong character. But as far as the gender preference pronouns go, yeah, that has happened to me. Actually, when I had gone in for, the checkup, and before I go in for that checkup, they wanted to know my gender.
Yeah, no, it happens. It's not just.
Why am I coming here for a pap if you have to ask that question? That's just weird.
But it is. It's not just happening where the caller was referencing in Missouri, but it happens here. Look, I've seen more doctors in the last 2 years than my entire life combined, and every time you
do love a good surgery, don't you?
Oh man, I love it. I have surgery like 8 times a year. I love it.
Yeah.
Every different doctor you go to, you've always got to fill out that new patient paperwork, and it's on every single one.
Yeah, it is. Okay, here's one final phone call, and this one is about Caitlyn Clark.
This is Paul. I live in southern Indiana, and I've been listening to the comments about the dogs and cat issue. I'm saying they're true. You don't need to go to Ohio to find out what's going on with these Haitians.
Oh, that's not the phone call I wanted. I'm sorry. That was totally different. We'll have to find the Caitlyn Clark phone call later, because we're actually going to talk about, she commented on the corn maze that was made in her likeness.
Oh, so that's up in northern Indiana,
in Hobart. $15 to do that. They say it's a smaller one.
$15.
Yeah, I believe that was the price.
To go through a corn maze.
Yeah.
That's how much it costs to go to a movie. I guess that's about the same amount of entertainment and time. I hate to say that kind of tracks for your entertainment dollar today, but it does.
I believe it's a smaller corn maze, and it's designed for younger people. So.
Okay, so is there a discount for kids? I mean, talk about $60 for a family of 4 to go through a corn maze.
Corn maze. You have to make a day of it, right?
Yeah.
Hammer is going to join us next. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel Show. Oh, baby, it's Beer Sample Friday. We cracked the mic at 3:06. The biggest stories of the day, a lot of laughs, and Casey Daniels is on Celebrity Beer Bong, 93 WIBC.
According to a 2023 Gallup poll, 71% of non-retired adults are worried about retirement saving. At Howard Bailey Financial, we don't believe retiring with confidence should be guesswork. In fact, our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we provide our Retire with Purpose toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you won't outlive. To receive your complimentary toolkit, text CLARITY to 866-482-9559. Take a step toward a more confident retirement with Howard Bailey Financial and text CLARITY to 866-482-9559.
This endorsement was not provided by a client of Howard Bailey. This individual was compensated for this endorsement. For more information, visit howardbailey.com/TS1.
Pat Sullivan here for Hope Plumbing. For 17 years, my friends at Hope Plumbing have treated homes like their very own. With local owners who care deeply about this community, they put your health and safety at the forefront of their business. That's why when I need plumbing help, no matter how big or small, I only call Hope Plumbing. They care about you and your family, which is why I believe they're the very best place to take your plumbing problems. Give them a call at 641-HOPE. That's 641-HOPE or hopeplumbing.com.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back, stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right, enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit diamondsdirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Attention all Hoosiers, a historically important election is headed our way. The time to prepare for the election is now. Are you registered to vote? Do you have a plan to vote? The Indiana Secretary of State's office wants to remind you, registering to vote or updating your registration is fast, easy, and can be done online at indianavoters.com. You must be registered 30 days before Election Day, so get registered and get out to vote. This message is sponsored by the Indiana Secretary of State's office.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
There he is, and he brought props. It's Jason Hammer from the Hammer and Nigel. Pops.
Weed Sample Wednesday.
We're saving that for noon when the show's over.
You're just trying to get on the Jennifer McCormick plan, I guess. Okay, it is Jason Hammer from the Hammer and Nigel program. Good morning.
Good morning. Store.hammerandnigel.com. Purchase your pint glasses. It's Beer Sample Friday. You can buy the Hammer and Nigel pint glass. You can get a hoodie. You can buy an I Hate Rob Kendall t-shirt. It's all right there. And this afternoon, you're going to be the very special guest on Celebrity Beer Bong.
Let's go!
Yes.
Let's go!
No, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I'm excited about this.
Have you ever bonged a beer?
I think like once when I was in college, but we're going back a day or
you
two.
know the difference between bonging a beer and shotgunning a beer.
Well, shotgunning is
Similar.
where you poke a hole in it and then crack it
good,
open
yes, yes.
and
Right.
suck it from the bottom,
Yes,
right?
Correct.
yes.
Okay, so you brought the beer bong in with you.
Yes.
Where did you get this?
That came from a store down at Destin, Florida. The family and I went down there this past spring break, and I think we needed an extra pair of like swim trunks for my youngest. So we stop in the little store, and it's right there on like the aisle, like the end of, aisle you check out.
The end cap right there.
Right. Grocery stores have their candy bars there. This place had beer bongs.
I love vacation destination beach shops like
I do
that
too.
because you can get anything. You can get ridiculous T-shirts for $5. You can get suntan lotion and flip-flops and a beer bong. Which,
And I'm such a tourist that I buy all that
me
stuff.
too. Me too. We just went to Lexington a couple of weeks ago and bought some great stuff while we were down there. Just stupid touristy stuff that I love.
So you saw this and immediately thought, you know what? We can use this in the show.
Yes. I put a tweet out that had the picture and said, I'm bringing this bad boy back for the show.
I remember when you did that.
We got more likes on that than anything else. I could put out a document that says, this is the cure for cancer. And we're going to get maybe 7 or 8 people retweet it, maybe 80, 90 likes. I put out a picture of celebrity beer bong. Hot damn, we're going viral.
Yeah,
You're trending.
It's time to have a party. It's going to be a good time. Okay, so what are the tips and tricks for bonging a beer? Now, you had mentioned, or it was Nigel who said, do you want a cold beer? And I assumed the answer is yes, but maybe not.
So the pros that have came in here, the people who are in it to win it.
Yeah.
Guy Relford, Racing Rachel from the casino.
Yep.
Because they each have the tie for the all-time record.
Right.
Like, they wanted a room temperature beer because sometimes it gets a little too cold in your throat if you're going for speed.
Right.
So they've requested room temperature. I was always a cold beer guy, but again, I'm awful at bonging beers. I could sit down and drink more beers than anybody, but I'm also the guy that can't swallow pills.
Yeah.
So I have to just chug it. I can't swallow a leaf. I have to chew up gel caps. I'm a weirdo. I get it. So I have the slowest time, but I like it cold. So it's totally up to you.
Okay, so I'm thinking maybe a little chilled, but not ice cold.
I heard cold and it's in the fridge.
Okay, perfect. Whatever you got.
You'll get what we give you, woman.
I mean, I could put it out on my
Whatever.
desk right now if you really want
Whatever.
to. But
I'm just here for a good time.
Now, do you get to choose
The brand?
your beer brand?
Well,
varietal.
I did tell Hammer that, typically when I order a beer when we're out at a restaurant somewhere, I like a stout, especially the peanut butter busted knuckle they have at Big Woods and Speedway.
Yep.
But they informed me that's probably not the best choice when you're bonging it. You just want to go with something light.
That's a little filling.
A little thick.
Heavy.
A little heavy.
Thick. Yeah,
They'll
no.
be like, Casey, we've got 5 minutes, not 5 hours. Get to it,
That's
lady.
a sipping beer. You're dealing with volume when it comes to the bong.
So we've got a fine selection of Miller Lights available for
There
you
you go.
this
Fine
afternoon.
Miller Light.
Light beer, I think, is the way to go. That's
Yeah.
what you want. You want a light beer when you're bonging.
Mm-hmm.
And the way this is going to work is, can I slide over here
Yeah,
with you? real
absolutely.
quick?
Get on camera with me here. We'll share the shot on YouTube.
Let me share this here
And
with
the
you
mic.
too, if it's okay.
Yeah.
So you're sitting where Nigel normally sits on our show.
Okay.
I'll be sitting where you are here. So give me this tube here.
Okay.
You're going to want to put your thumb right here. in
If
the
you're
ring.
not watching this on YouTube, you are missing out on
the
visual beer bong instructions.
Go ahead and give us a little play-by-play here.
So Hammer's got his thumb on the end of the hose, which is really important, and you want the funnel down below where your hand is on the thumb. This is science.
Yes.
It's been tested.
Okay.
It's just
Clearly.
science.
Right,
All right.
clearly.
And then you generally pour the beer in and fill it up, and you've still got the funnel below your hand, where again your thumb is on the top because you want to create that seal there.
Okay.
And then you slowly lift
Bring it
up,
up.
lift up that, and then you jam the end of the tube in your mouth and take your thumb out of that, and it all comes flowing in at a very high rate of speed.
Perfect. Okay, I think I can handle this. Now, my question for you, now that we've gone through the instructions on how to correctly bong a beer.
And shame on you for all the Notre Dame football tailgates that we've been to over the years. You never bonged a beer at any
I don't
of those?
think so. I don't think I
It's
ever
what Lou
did.
Holtz would want.
It's
Yes.
what,
Well,
it's what Lou Holtz
if that's
would
what he
want.
wants, I'm not going to hold us back. Okay, so my question though, Hammer, Have you cleaned this since the last time you had
Yes.
celebrity beer bong?
Yes, we take the sanitary measures necessary for celebrity beer bong.
Perfect.
Eric Allen of B105.
He had his lips all over that.
And I think he's like a pastor, too.
Oh, okay.
I think he thought he was coming in for beer pong. And boy, was he surprised when we gave him a funnel. But, he did it. He had the poncho on and everything because he knew he was going to make a mess, but he got through it eventually. So if he can get through it, you can do it like a boss this
You know what?
afternoon.
And the alcohol sanitizes it. That's how you know it's clean.
Okay.
Only alcohol is used in that beer bong, and that's how it sanitizes.
Okay, now I had mentioned
Science.
to you. It's a
Again,
science.
science. This is all science.
Just follow the science, folks. I'm not going for any record. My entire goal is just to not wear the beer, because if you take your thumb off, it can like come flying in your face, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's just my goal. Now, last night you had some picks in the game. How'd you do?
Oh, we caught a bad break last night because I bet over the total, right? The line was 48.5 points. And I said, you know what? 3 of the last 4 times these teams have played, it's been 60 or more. We're going to ride the Lightning. And we were on our way. We had 41 points on the board with like 9 minutes left in the third quarter. We were pacing at like 65, 66. And then the quarterback for the Dolphins, Tua goes down with another bad concussion. And that was it. Because the backup quarterback for the Dolphins stinks. He's like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. So they gave you nothing. And at that point, the Bills just ran out the clock, basically.
Right, just hand the ball off and kill clock, and that was a scary scene last night. I mean, he was carted off the field on a stretcher. It was not a good scene at the end of that game.
So what do you have coming up this afternoon besides me and this bong?
So we're going to dive more into Joe Hogsett. One of his accusers is on Twitter going scorched earth about that presser yesterday.
All right, well, I will see you back in a few hours. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Don't miss the holiday concert experience of the season. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Lost Christmas Eve. December 19th, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Reserve seats on sale now at Ticketmaster. An awe-inspiring blend of rock, classical, and holiday music for the entire family. Don't miss Trans-Siberian Orchestra, live in concert.
To celebrate, be employee owned, Bees offering employee pricing 60% off plus 18 months, no interest, no payment.
Proud to be employee owned. Trust me.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
You remember that ball game we went to a couple years ago?
Sure.
And how you didn't have enough cash for 2 hot dogs, so you walked with me on your shoulders until we found an ATM? And then when we got back to our seats, we never saw the hot dog guy again.
Well, I don't remember all that.
Yeah, that was an awesome game.
You never know which moments will be the ones they'll remember forever. So take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 1-877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Coming up in 2 minutes, John Herrick reports on what Mayor Hogsett had to say about his office being investigated. Plus, you may see some rain today, but it's going to be staying dry for a little while. And Jonathan Taylor is ready for a homecoming in a way as the Colts head to Green Bay. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
He'll soon do what he criticizes his rival for not doing. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump will hold a news conference in California. Vice President Harris has not held any of those since replacing President Biden as the Democratic candidate.
A news conference, perhaps a way to try to turn the page on some of the headlines he got this week from that debate performance. One of the recent headlines is that he will not be participating in another debate.
Fox's Aisha Hasni in Rancho Palos Verdes, California.
This is home to some of the richest political donors out there, and this is where the former president is fundraising. He did yesterday, and he will today as well. Harris got a big bump after that debate,
Raising $47 million since, and the vice president wants another debate. She'll campaign again today in Pennsylvania after 2 rallies in another state considered a toss-up, North Carolina.
Donald Trump is not fit to be president of the United States. And
should never again occupy our nation's highest office.
Well, after his California news conference, there will be a Trump rally in Nevada where
the Nevada GOP and former President Trump's campaign allege the state of Nevada registered at least 4,000 non-U.S. citizens to vote automatically when they receive their state-issued driver licenses, and that they may have voted in the 2020 election. They're both suing the state, claiming there may now be more than 11,000 registered voters in Nevada who should be disqualified due to being non-citizens.
Fox's Evan Brown. 33,000 Boeing workers are on strike, walking off the job after midnight, shutting down airplane production in Oregon and Washington State.
Hey, we deserve more. We are doing the job that is required of us, and we need to be compensated fairly.
Justin Timberlake's doing a courtroom any minute on New York's Long Island. 3 months after the pop star was arrested for drunk driving, it's expected Timberlake will plead guilty to a lesser charge. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He plans to cooperate. It's 73 and mostly cloudy downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. He actually took questions from the media. John Herrick reports on what Mayor Hogsett said about the sexual harassment investigation his office faces.
Hogsett signed an ordinance Thursday calling for an independent investigation into the accused sexual misconduct of his former chief of staff, Thomas Cook. He also said he's learned a lot from this experience.
Every employee in the city of Indianapolis needs to be assured that if they have a complaint, that it is confidential, it can be anonymous, it will be investigated.
But Hogsett also said he would not resign over the claims against his former deputy mayor. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A man found shot to death on the north side at an apartment complex this morning. It was just after midnight when police were sent to the Westmont Apartments off 16th and Central. And that's where they found a man dead in the hallway. Now they're looking for whoever shot him. 25 people arrested in a big drug bust in southern Indiana. It was called Operation Iceberg in Jefferson County. Everyone involved caught up in a bunch of meth and cocaine. One thing Indiana hasn't been getting a lot of lately is rain.
In fact, so far in September, we've only had about 0.05 of an inch here at Indy. Some areas of the state have had a little bit more, and some haven't even received that.
Randy Bowers with the National Weather Service says most of the state is in a moderate drought. He doesn't believe that any rain that you'll see today will help much with the drought conditions. A homecoming of sorts for Jonathan Taylor. The former Badger will be back among those who watched him play at Wisconsin back in the day as the Colts head north to face the Green Bay Packers.
I've been waiting for this one. Definitely hoping I get a Lambeau Leap in. Hopefully I don't get anything poured on me.
Injuries, a bit of an issue on defense for the Colts. Julian Blackmon, Kwity Paye, and DeForest Buckner all held out of practice on Thursday. I'm Kirk Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Do you own an annuity? Right now, you could upgrade your annuity and get 40% more income, tax-deferred growth, and pay fewer fees and expenses. It's true. This upgrade could add up to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional lifetime income. Learn more by calling Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy.
If you currently own an annuity, discover how you could get 40% more income, tax-deferred growth, and pay fewer fees and expenses. Bill Demery's the guy that can break it all down for you. This upgrade could add up to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional lifetime income. And it won't cost you a dime. Talk to Bill Demery today. 317-648-5120. That's 317-648-5120. Bill Demery, your retirement guy.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Sundown Gardens, Hamilton County's fall nursery headquarters.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, September 13th, 5 minutes after 11. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall with the day off, and in his place, the dude, Jim Roberts, in the studio. And a big announcement came out from the top levels of predominant sports leaders. They're sharing a vision for the city of Indianapolis, and it is to make Indy the women's sports capital of the world. Now, the president of the Indiana Sports Corps, he said that they want to create the leading women's sports ecosystem and women leaders in sports in Indianapolis. And he said this goes beyond the Fever and Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Look, we've said this many times. Nobody does big sporting events as well as the city of Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
For as much as there is wrong about this city, and Indiana Sports Corp is largely responsible for that, and they're kind of an independent organization, they've done an amazing job at putting this city on the worldwide map for being the home for big sports events. Everybody says that when the Super Bowl came here, Indianapolis was one of the best, if not the best city, and did the best job in hosting the Super Bowl. We had the National Swim Trials here. They were a fantastic, huge success at the Lucas Oil Stadium. And the fact of the matter is, there is massive growth taking place in women's sports. Obviously, we all know that women's basketball is on a huge upswing with Caitlyn Clark, but this is happening at all levels, whether it's women's soccer or other women's sports. This is a major growth area, and so I think this is a smart move on their part. They're going to sit here and say, I'm going to carve out this niche. We're going to be the women's sports capital of the world, and based on the performance of Indiana Sports Corp, and how they've been able to pull off all this crazy stuff in the past, I think they've got a legitimate shot at doing it. And you can sit here today and say, oh, women's sports, it pales in comparison as far as reach and dollars to men's sports. But look at 10 years out. Do you believe 10 years from now, women's sports will be bigger than it is today?
I believe so.
Absolutely.
However, there's a caveat to all of this, and that is the fact that the NCAA, which is based here in Indianapolis, needs to come out and take a stand against women or against men participating in women's sports. How can you claim to want to have the women's sports capital of the world, and you're sitting here with the NCAA headquarters in your backyard, not coming out against men playing in women's sports?
So two different organizations,
Correct.
Indiana Sports Corp and the NCAA, and they're going to do different things. And yes, the NCAA is an absolute dumpster fire and total disaster on many topics and subjects, but especially allowing men to play in women's sports. And that's something that's got to be settled. I think the good news for Indiana Sports Corp is the NCAA is becoming more and more irrelevant as every year goes past. And I think you're going to see this. And it's going to happen in college football, where you will see 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 Division I schools break off and break away from the NCAA as it relates to football. And I think that that'll probably just be a domino that follows to the rest of that organization. So the good news from Indiana Sports Corp's perspective is the NCAA just isn't as relevant as it has been in the past, and is continuing down that path of even more irrelevance going forward.
So when the U.S. Olympic time trials were here in Indy earlier this year, it was 5 women who actually helped bring that massive pool to Lucas Oil Stadium and a lot of the other moving parts. So not only are they talking about the athletes, they're talking about women helping to make it happen, make Indy become the women's sports capital of the world. But the big thing that was on their list was Caitlyn Clark here in town.
Yeah, and it was interesting. I read Indy Star did a really good job on the article because they gave great background and context on this. And Indiana Sports Corp started this discussion before
she was drafted.
And before Indiana even knew they had the number 1 pick. I mean, we all knew whoever had the number 1 pick was going to take Caitlyn Clark. So this discussion happened before that, and there was an interesting quote on there. How are we going to make this happen? It was a typical brainstorming session in a corporate, and somebody wrote, "Get Caitlyn Clark," and they all kind of laughed, ha 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 ha. And then, oh, geez, Indiana Fever win the draft lottery and get the number 1 pick, and so that, what a great launching point to this, to have Caitlyn Clark here in this town and her popularity. And I hope that they can pull it off and do it. And based on their past history and how they've done such an amazing job at other sporting events in this town, I think it's likely that they could pull this off. I don't know where you go. I'm not sure how the plan is, and the article didn't go into details. You've got this great catalyst, and you've got your base, and Caitlyn Clark being here, and hopefully she plays for a long time. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot of other professional women's sports that are moving the needle on anything right now. Women's soccer is probably the next highest watched and viewed professional women's sport. But you could take it to amateurs as well. You could make this the home of, the more women's Final Fours we get here for the NCAA basketball. The other collegiate women's sporting events that we can have here can be a big driver of that.
Yeah, but again, going back to the collegiate women's sports, the NCAA, they're sitting there saying that they're okay with men playing on women's teams, and yet they want Indy to be the women's sports capital of the world. Those two just aren't, they don't mesh
they
together.
Fight each other. And
they do fight each other.
That's going to have to be resolved at some point.
Absolutely, it's going to have to be.
That's a great point. It is going to have to be resolved.
But there is a lot of women in the city that they can draw from. So, speaking of Caitlyn Clark, I know you're a huge fan. We've talked about this. Yeah, we've talked about this before. You, in fact, even purchased the WNBA, TV pass, whatever.
It sounds stupid.
You spent my money on that, so explain yourself.
I did, and it sounds stupid when I say it out loud, but I don't. That's fine. And I never would have thought a year ago I'd be in the position. We bought the WNBA League Pass because I didn't want to miss any of her games.
We, in air quotes.
Okay, fine.
You.
Because I am a huge fan.
You
I'm fascinated by her. I think she is
she's fun to watch.
She's so fun to watch. I think I'm fascinated by all the social media arguments around it and the drama associated with it. That's entertainment to me. But man, I just love watching her play, and it's very similar to the way I loved watching Michael Jordan play back in the day. I mean, he was a draw. I thought when I was a kid and growing up, I was born outside of Chicago, and I was 10 years old when the Bulls drafted Michael Jordan. I was bound to become a huge Michael Jordan fan, and I thought I was a Chicago Bulls fan. And as soon as Michael Jordan retired, I couldn't tell you the last time I watched a Chicago Bulls. So it turns out
you were a Michael Jordan fan.
It turns out I was a Michael Jordan fan, and maybe the same thing will happen with the WNBA, but I can tell you right now, I'm a huge Caitlyn Clark fan. I watch all her games, and I'm just totally entertained by everything she does.
Okay, so a lot of people are torn about something that she did do, and that was like that Taylor Swift endorsement post of Kamala Harris, and more than 10 million people also hit that like button on that Taylor Swift post. So does that change how you feel about Caitlyn Clark?
It doesn't for me personally, because I can easily separate my, the people I watch for entertainment from their political views. I enjoy, we all know that Hollywood is 99.99% liberal, and there are hardly any conservatives there. But I still love watching movies and TV shows, and go back to Dave Grohl and the story we had. Yeah, he's cheating on his wife, and he's a dirtbag. But man, I still crank Monkey Wrench every time it comes on the radio. I love the Foo Fighters, so I'm the type of person that can separate the entertainment value from these people, separate their personal political views, and it just doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I couldn't care less that Caitlyn Clark, even if she came out and fully endorsed Kamala Harris, I wouldn't care because it doesn't affect me, it doesn't bother me, and I still get to watch her play basketball.
Do you think that her liking that post was a full-on endorsement? Because she was asked about it, and she said, I just want to use my platform. I have an amazing platform, and I want people to do their research and get registered to vote.
Yeah, so from a public image, so that's how I view her personally. Doesn't bother me at all. But from a public image analysis, if you want to call it that way, I don't know why she did it. It doesn't make any sense to me, because you've got the model on what worked.
Michael
Jordan and Tiger Woods. Massively successful, never talked about politics. In fact, Michael Jordan is famous for his line that, hey, Republicans buy sneakers too.
Right.
So why you would deviate from that if you're Caitlyn Clark and you are being compared both athletically and in terms of pop culture awareness and likability. You're being compared to Michael Jordan. You're being compared to Tiger Woods. Why you wouldn't follow that path and stay out of the world of politics, I don't understand, but obviously she did. It certainly wasn't a full-on endorsement. She's trying to thread the needle.
Yeah.
She did the liked on the Instagram post, and then she comes out in the press conference yesterday and gives a non-answer essentially that's right down the middle. For some reason, she felt the need that she had to do this, and she's trying to thread that needle, and I guess she's doing an okay job of that right now.
So a lot of people are saying that they're sick of hearing from athletes and celebrities and singers and actors about their political views. And in fact, here's a woman.
But these athletes can't help themselves. Most of them, and I'm not saying that Caitlyn Clark is in this, most of them are so self-absorbed, so all about narcissistic, and think they're the only thing in the world that they have to share their political opinions with everybody. Even though the public has come out and said, we don't want this from you.
But here's the thing. They're not living in the real world that we live in. If Taylor Swift or Caitlyn Clark were to stop singing and stop playing tomorrow, they would be just fine.
And that's what frustrates everybody. We talked about John Legend earlier, who's from Springfield, Ohio, that came out and said, hey, you should welcome these Haitian immigrants into your town, and even if they are eating your pets, whether that story's true or not. And everybody's like, screw you, John Legend. You live in a $17 million house in Beverly Hills.
Right.
Don't sit here and tell me I'm struggling to put gas in my car. I'm struggling to buy groceries, which, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but the cost of eggs have gone up again dramatically. I noticed it. Because I don't have John Legend money and I don't have Taylor Swift money. And so that's how I vote. And I think that's where the animosity comes from. You've got these elitists, rich elitists on the, living in their castles on the hill that are telling us poors how we're supposed to live our lives. That's where the frustration comes from.
Okay, well, here's the message for celebrities.
Hey, real quick, if you're a celebrity, shut up.
Ha!
If you're a celebrity, shut up. Shut up. Don't tell us what to do. Don't tell us, don't talk to us like you know what it's like. Don't tell us that we should be voting for this person or talking about this. Stop talking. Stop talking. Because you have no idea. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's like. There are people out there right now, and it shouldn't be political. Feeding your family should not be political. Having to choose between paying rent or groceries that week, and rent is delayed, it should not be political. That should literally just be, life. But as a celebrity, stop talking. Because you don't know, and you sound stupid. And if you're somebody who follows a celebrity blindly and just does what they say because of who they are, also, you shut up. Sit down. Take several seats. Because I'm exhausted. And I'm pretty sure most of the world, most Americans are also exhausted.
Yeah, we're getting inundated from every direction. It's like even when you want to escape it and watch your favorite athlete, boom, there it is, politics in your face.
It's because these celebrities, they've lived in these insulated bubbles their whole lives. Everybody told them, you're awesome, you're amazing, you can do no wrong. Nobody tells them no. Just give them whatever they want. And so they become, full of themselves. And
they believe their own press.
They do. And they think, well, I know exactly who should be president, and I'm going to tell all the poors exactly who I'm voting for and encourage them to do the same. They just cannot help themselves. And I'm not throwing Caitlyn Clark into that batch there because I think it's too young in her public career to know exactly where she's going there. No, but I'm a fan of Taylor Swift. Look, I'm a fan of Travis Kelce. His politics are completely different from mine, and I wish he would just shut up about politics. But I'm still a fan of Travis Kelce because he's amazing to watch on the football field. But it's the mindset that these athletes and these celebrities have. Again, millionaires, if they never earned another penny the rest of their lives, they'd be just fine. And to think that they have
can't
the
relate to what we're going
audacity
through
to tell us how we should think and how we should vote is just mind-boggling.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Attention, we have some delightful news, and it's kind of a big deal. You're invited to the first WIBC Pop-Up Pickleball Social, presented by Franciscan Health at Craig Park in Greenwood, Saturday, September 28th. Sign up for the Pickleball Clinic. See your favorite personalities pick up their paddles, plus open play and kids activities. All the details are at WIBC.com. Get in the game. But to stay out of the kitchen.
Oh, I see what you did there.
With Franciscan Health and 93 WIBC.
Cindy Carrasco has spent a career holding the powerful accountable. As Indiana's Inspector General and Director of the State Ethics Commission, Cindy fought waste, fraud, and abuse wherever she found it. Cindy also combated wrongdoing in state government, which meant standing up and doing the right thing even if it wasn't popular. Now, as our state senator, Cindy Carrasco continues to fight on behalf of all Hoosiers by improving the quality of our children's education, providing tax relief for everyone, and working to make our communities safe by getting law enforcement the resources they need to fight crime, violence, and keep fentanyl away from our families. It's why Cindy has been endorsed by the Indiana Fraternal Order of Police, State Police Alliance, and the Professional Firefighters of Indiana. Because they know that Cindy has their back, and we know she has ours. Vote for more government transparency, better schools, lower taxes, and safer streets. Vote Cindy Carrasco for State Senate.
Paid for by Cindy for Senate.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Seems like there's more identity theft in the news every day.
Another major healthcare breach was reported today, resulting in the exposure.
Now, 1 in 4 consumers have been a victim of identity.
That's because there are endless places that could accidentally expose you to identity theft, in a breach, or simply by mistake. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
To celebrate, Be Employee Owned, Be's offering employee pricing 60% off plus 18 months, no interest, no payment.
Proud to be employee owned. Trust me.
As we just discussed, Jim, you're a big fan of Caitlyn Clark, and she's got that corn maze in Indiana. Depicts her playing in her Fever uniform, and I'm wondering...
Are we doing all of the content that Rob normally hates? Because he's now we're talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and Caitlyn Clark, and we're doing it all because Rob's not here.
That's true. He is off today. So what do you think? The Caitlyn Clark corn maze in Hobart, is that something that we're going to make a trek to?
I kind of wanna. Is that dumb? Is that stupid?
You kind of want to go to that, huh?
Well, I mean, corn mazes are fun in general, but a Caitlyn Clark themed corn maze that sounds fun. That'd be cool.
Popular fall tradition here in Indiana. Lots of families and moms and dads take their kids. It's something fun to do in the fall, and the farms and the orchards, fun for an adventure.
And some of those corn mazes are crazy difficult.
Yeah,
I remember you and I went to one several years ago. And they handed out maps, and you needed the map. And if I didn't have a map, we'd still be in that corn maze.
From what I've heard, this one is for a younger audience, a little easier than maybe some of the harder ones that you've been to. But, these farms, they create these maze designs. Don't they do it with the GPS, and they can load?
Oh, they probably do.
Yeah, they load it in the combine, and it drives it to make the map or something like that.
I love the entrepreneurial aspect of this. If you own a farm and you're getting ready to harvest, and you're sitting here going, okay, how much money am I going to make from this 5 acres of corn? I bet I could make more money if I made a maze out of it and sold tickets to it. So the whole concept is great to me, especially from the entrepreneurial aspect and the fact that most of these are family farms. And so when you go to them, you pay money for the ticket. You're supporting that family farm.
The local farm.
It checks all the boxes for me.
It's definitely one of Indiana's favorite autumn traditions. And Caitlyn Clark was asked about having a corn maze made in her likeness, and this is what she said.
I think it's cool. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, I grew up as a kid, obviously, from the state of Iowa, so you go to pumpkin patch, you go do those type of things in the fall. Corn mazes are a lot more difficult than people probably think if you've never done one. It's very easy to get lost in there, kind of scary if you're not with people. So, I mean, I guess if I have time after the season ends, maybe hopefully I can get there. It's in Indiana, correct? Yeah, it's north. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, pretty cool. I didn't think it was weird. I thought it was great detail. I'm impressed. I don't know how they do that, especially you're not cutting it down from above. So pretty talented, honestly.
So I would love to hear from somebody who's ever created a corn maze, exactly how it's done. I think it's something where they load the GPS coordinates into it and it automatically cuts the design.
I know most modern farming is GPS plays a massive role into it, so it wouldn't surprise me if it's part of the corn maze.
I know one of our listeners will know, and they'll set us straight. They'll tell us about it.
Casey Daniels 317 on Twitter. Yeah. Send her a DM.
So you're going to try to go to that corn maze on the day that Caitlyn Clark is going to be there.
I would do that.
Hanging out in Hobart.
Poor Caitlyn Clark. She gets asked the goofiest question. She gets asked.
Not poor,
but she has to sit there and put up with the goofiest questions. It started with Greg Doyle in her first press conference.
Yeah.
And now she's got to comment on the corn maze made in her likeness.
Yeah, well, here's the world's smallest violin playing for her.
Yeah, $28 million Nike contract.
Okay, so the home where Tom Hanks stayed during filming A League of Their Own is currently on the market. It's for sale in Evansville. So what do we think of this as an entrepreneur? What would you do with this 5-acre property? It's got about 48,000 square feet. It's listed for $1.2 million.
For starters, I had no idea that Tom Hanks lived in Evansville for a period of time. I don't know if it says
It's where he stayed.
It's where he stayed and that sort of thing. So, again, back to the entrepreneurial spirit, what makes the most sense out of this is buying that house and then turning it into an Airbnb. And if it was me, I would turn every room in that house into a themed room based on one of Tom Hanks' movies.
Okay, so you would have a League of Your Own movie, or
right,
you know,
have the
room,
League of Your Own
that would
room,
be baseball themed,
baseball directed, and have a bunch of maybe League of Your Own memorabilia in there. There'd be an Apollo 13 room that was all space related. There'd be a Castaway room that's pretty easy. Just get a beat up volleyball with some blood smeared on it to look like Wilson, and then you could have it very beachy themed. But I think that would be, from an entrepreneur standpoint, I think that is a home run money maker for somebody.
Okay, so a couple of rooms that I would call into question. One is your Saving Private Ryan room. That would be maybe you could do some
maybe not
historical paraphernalia in that room, but then the Philadelphia room. Nobody wants to stay in that room.
It better not be the bedroom.
You know, the room that I would most like to visit in that house, if you were to buy that and do that.
Joe versus the volcano?
No, the big room. You know, you could have like
the movie big.
Yeah, you could have like the trampoline and the piano on the floor and
that would be
all
like
the toys. That would be the best room in the whole house.
That would be awesome if there's like a finished basement. You could throw all of those, the massively oversized stuffed animals, the piano that you walk on with your feet and play. That would be good. The machine that did the tarot reading, or not the tarot reading, but
Zoltar.
Zoltar, yes, the Zoltar machine. You could have one of those. That's a great idea. How fun would that be?
That would be a fun room.
If you're staying in Evansville, if you got to go to Evansville for whatever reason, much more fun to stay there.
I'm sure there are Airbnbs in Evansville, but why would you need an Airbnb in Evansville? Like, what are you doing?
If you just want something different than staying at the Hampton Inn down,
Do you remember that one time we went to Evansville?
I do. I've been to Evansville a couple of times. The one time you and I were both there, but yes, I vividly remember our one trip to Evansville.
So this is the story. We're living in South Bend, and we drive from South Bend to Evansville for a soccer tournament, right?
Youth soccer tournament.
Yeah,
yes.
we get all the way down there. It's a 6.5 hour drive.
It's 6 hours
from one
South
end
Bend.
of the state to the other, and we get there, and the team that they're playing is based out of Elkhart, which was 20 minutes away from South Bend. So we literally drove across the state to play the team that was located next
12
door.
hours there and back, and the weather was terrible. It was
so
miserable.
cold,
I don't have good. I need to visit Evansville again to see if I can get a better image of it, because the image I have from that soccer tournament when we were in Evansville is not good.
No,
it's not good at all.
Not good. All right, it is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated. And you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine.
Not fun.
Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. We find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back, stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right, enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit DiamondsDirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
One of my favorite things about playing high school sports is being a part of something bigger than myself.
I love being a part of a team and having a place where I belong. I'm Georgia Ferguson from East Central High School.
And I'm Jace Martin from North Harrison High School. The moments that often stand out most for student athletes happen off the playing field.
It's the team dinners, bus rides, and the music in the locker room.
It's the camaraderie, shared experiences, and being with your friends.
That sense of community helps you develop pride in who you are and what you represent.
Playing high school sports is where the values of your team, school, and community are on display for everyone to see.
It's a chance to show the best of us and make memories that will last a lifetime.
I am IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig. Be a champion of high school sports and support these memorable moments by buying a ticket to your school's athletic events. This is forging friendships. This is building community. This is your IHSAA.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He says they'll retaliate. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Russian President Vladimir Putin is warning NATO leaders that he would consider them lifting Ukraine's long-range missile restrictions as an act of war. He told reporters Thursday that if the NATO alliance leaders do so, Russia will respond to what he referred to as the threats. Airplane makers in Seattle are on strike.
33,000 of those Boeing union employees agreed to go on strike after the manufacturing giant and the union had been in contract negotiations for the past week. This comes after the workers rejected the company's new contract offer because it didn't include the 40% pay hike that they were asking for, among other provisions. This is the first strike since the financial crisis in 2008.
Fox's Lawrence Simonetti. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251.
Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
The Sundown Gardens Fall Open House is Saturday. Local craft vendors 11 to 3, Hamilton County Llamas 11 to 1, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield.
I'm Deidre Hall with a message about your eye health. My mother had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD, which means my family members are at greater risk.
I'm Dr. Sada of Doheny UCLA. AMD is the most common cause of severe, irreversible vision loss in older adults. If a healthcare professional suspects AMD, a retina specialist can confirm the diagnosis and work with you on a treatment plan.
Routine eye care can help maintain your vision. Visit geteyesmart.org for more information.
More than 100 million wild animals are killed each year illegally. Poaching is a major threat to our country's wildlife. I'm Tom Barry. I'm an actor with a desire to preserve living space for wildlife. The Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust does just that. Works with private landowners to protect wildlife, to preserve natural habitats. To learn more or to work with the Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust, call 800-729-SAVE. That's 800-729-SAVE, or visit wildlifelandtrust.org. Thank you.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So Senator Blumenthal, he came out and he said that he thinks the American people are going to be shocked, astonished, and appalled by what they will report about the failures by the Secret Service in the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. That's pretty shocking when you consider that that comes from a Democrat. He's from Connecticut. And then you have Josh Hawley, who came out last night on Fox News, and he said that the Department of Homeland Security was telling the Secret Service not to cooperate with the investigation.
Yeah, because it's going to look bad for the Department of Homeland Security, which the Secret Service is part of. Mm-hmm. Shocking. There's a surprise that the Department of Homeland Security doesn't want that information to come out because it's going to make them look bad. That's politics. Yeah. That's the way the government works, unfortunately, today.
Are they getting ready to pin this on somebody? Somebody is a scapegoat? I mean, you already have...
Oh, somebody will have to go down for this, and more than the director of the Secret Service who already resigned. Yes.
Yeah, well, you had the director who resigned, and then you had the assistant director retire, air quotes, and I believe today is his last day. And so now you've got both sides coming out saying you guys are going to be shocked. Like, what are they going to tell us?
Yeah, I don't know why why Blumenthal came out. He's a Democrat, so he's a valid source on this because he's got a vested interest to a large degree of this not making the current Democratic administration look bad, but hopefully we get the truth. That's what I'm hoping. I mean, things have been pretty quiet on the assassination attempt for the last, I don't know,
well, it
4
wasn't
to
even
6
brought
weeks.
up during the debate.
Wasn't even brought up during debate. It's almost like it never happened. So I'm just happy that the investigation is continuing, and at some point in time, we actually find out what happened.
Okay, so I don't really care how it happened. I want to know who made it happen.
Who made it happen?
Who made it happen? Who is behind all of this? I mean, if we're going to be shocked to find out, is it more than just that one shooter behind all of this?
From the way that Blumenthal had his statement and the words that he used, I think he's not referring to other people being involved or the conspiracy theories about
something
Iran
like that
being involved. I think he's just talking about massive incompetence and lack of leadership at the Secret Service level.
Okay. Here's Donald Trump. He had a chance to talk about why Kamala Harris was smiling during the debate the entire time.
No, they're destroying our country. I don't like. She's smiling. All practice, right? Did you see her? She's like we're talking about a border invasion, the likes of which no country has ever suffered, and she's like this. But I am angry about Venezuelan gangs taking over Aurora, Colorado. And illegal Haitians, and he came in, illegal Haitian migrants taking over a beautiful place. It was so beautiful. Springfield, Ohio. I was there. I campaigned there a while ago. Springfield, it was so beautiful. Now it's just, what a place.
So he didn't mention anything about the dogs or the cats or anything like that. But I think that rubbed a lot of people wrong, the way Kamala Harris presented herself during the debate at parts, where she seemed to have a smirk and she was holding her chin and not only verbally trying to put Donald Trump on the defense, but also physically.
This goes back to what you said in right before the debate and at the debate watch party. You said, if you listen to the debate on WIBC, you're probably going to have a different perception of what went down and how it went versus watching it on television. And I think you're exactly right about that statement, because similar to the first debate where you saw, mouth-breathing Joe Biden standing there with the, gaping and all of that, you did see some just awkward, I don't know what the way to call it is, socially awkward, just awkward stances and facial expressions that Kamala Harris had that you wouldn't have caught if you just listened to the audio.
Okay, we have to do the banana rant. This is Jim's banana rant, and this is what I'm subjected to on Friday nights around our house.
Yeah, so...
You and Robert
take
so
pity
similar.
take pity on Casey.
So many levels.
Send Casey your sympathies. Casey at WIBC.com for email. Casey Daniels 317 on Twitter, because this is what she has to live with. Kevin, I'm going to talk to you on this one. So this is what Friday night around our house is like. And so we've got some bananas sitting on the counter, and I'm a curious guy. So like when I watch like TV shows or movies that are like based on true events, before it's even over, I've got Wikipedia open and I'm like, okay, what really happened? With the Elvis movie, we love that Elvis movie from a couple summers ago. And we know it's Hollywood and not all of it's true, but I wanted to, fact check it and that sort of thing and take a look at the details. So I take this massive deep dive into bananas, and just hang with me. I swear there is a good payoff at the end of this. Just give me 2 minutes about bananas. And I remembered something about the bananas we eat today are different from before, and so I start going down this rabbit hole on bananas and flavors. And in the 40s and 50s, there's a varietal of bananas called Big Mike. They're the Big Mike banana. And have you ever had artificial banana, like banana runts or like banana taffy?
Yeah, I don't like those.
Yeah. That's what bananas used to taste like in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and scientists used the old varietal of bananas to create that artificial banana flavor. And then there was this huge, infestation, and that varietal died out, and now we eat different bananas called Cavendish bananas.
And you don't like the artificial banana flavoring because you feel like it's too banana forward, right?
I always felt like it tasted nothing like the natural banana, like the actual banana.
The banana you eat.
That's
exactly.
the
bananas I'm used to.
Yeah, but that's the way bananas used to taste. And so I go down this big banana rabbit hole, and I find out that in the 50s, Chiquita Banana, which sounds like a foreign company, but it's an American company, was the single largest private landowner in the country of Guatemala. And it was all for their banana farms. And so they farmed these Big Mike bananas, which is the former banana that we all used to eat. And then in the early 50s, this parasite or disease wiped out the Big Mike banana. And so Chiquita's got all these banana farms that they're going to have to replant. Well, when that happened, the president of Guatemala said, no, that's enough of this. I'm going to nationalize private land ownership in the banana industry, and we're going to steal all of that land back from you. Chiquita, sorry, you're out of luck. So Chiquita did what any good American company does. They went to the president and the Congress and said, hey, our president, and said, hey, this president Guatemala's killing us here. They're going to bankrupt us because they stole all of our land. And so what did the federal government do? They do what they do best. They engineered a foreign election. So they found a guy that said, hey, guy in Guatemala, he's like, hey, if you get me into the presidency, I'll give Chiquita all of their land back. And that's exactly what happened. So the federal government, because of Chiquita bananas, organized and interfered in the Guatemalan election and got their guy elected, and the banana guy got elected in Guatemala and gave Chiquita all of their land back. Chiquita plants the Cavendish banana, and now it flourishes and goes everywhere. And are you ready for it? Wait for it.
The Cavendish banana is what we eat today.
Correct.
Go ahead.
That is where the term Banana Republic comes from. Boom!
Oh, wow.
Mic drop. I just blew your mind.
I never knew that.
Me either.
Banana rant.
That is what Casey had to put up with on Friday night. Me taking a 2-hour deep dive into bananas to find out that that's where the term Banana Republic came from. It's because we organized a quasi-coup in Guatemala in the 50s so that we could help the U.S.-based Chiquita Banana Company.
That is all I'm going to think of when I eat my Chiquita bananas.
That's all I'm going to think of for every banana I have for the rest of my life. I'm going to be like, I wonder what a Big Mike banana used to taste like. It's a good thing that our government got involved in that election. I can still enjoy cheap bananas.
It's more banana forward. Okay, so we've got Susan Beckwith who's going to join us, and we're going to talk about aging aesthetically. But as we go to break, here is the Trump Club song.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat, the cat.
ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there had been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community. Let me just say here, this is the people on television.
Hammer and Nigel show. Oh, baby, it's Beer Sample Friday. We cracked the mic at 3:06. The biggest stories of the day, a lot of laughs, and Casey Daniels is on Celebrity Beer Bong, 93 WIBC.
Fox, CNN, other news sources are reporting home prices are expected to decline into 2025, even after the election. Maximize your home sales price now before this downturn with the agent proven to sell for top dollar, Mark Dietel. Maybe you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades to sell your home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Sarah in Fountain Square had to say about working with Mark Dietel. After investing in a property in Fountain Square, I ran into some financial trouble and needed to sell the place fast. After hearing about Mark Dietel from friends, I hired him. Mark was able to sell my property within weeks over list price. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
After college, Mike Braun could have gone anywhere. He chose to move back to his hometown of Jasper, Indiana. There, he started a small business, kept his head down, worked hard, and turned his small business into a national company, employing thousands of Hoosiers. He'll use that same determination for us. Lead the charge on lowering the price of gas, groceries, energy. Take on the big healthcare companies to increase healthcare access and lower costs. And Mike will improve education across our state by increasing school choice. Mike will make our streets safer, back the blue, and stop illegal immigration if the federal government won't. Because Braun believes every Hoosier should be safe and secure in their community. As governor, Braun will continue working for Hoosiers. Because when you're Mike, working hard is just what you do. Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine.
Not fun.
Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. We find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
PA Jewelers in Brownsburg is your place for fine jewelry, custom pieces, one-of-a-kind pieces, vintage pieces, and also your place to sell jewelry. 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg, PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms. You have old jewelry from grandma or jewelry you don't wear anymore? Come sell it for top dollar at PA Jewelers. I've sold jewelry there. My wife has. You're going to love the prices. PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms, 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg, premierarms.com.
Attention, we have some delightful news, and it's kind of a big deal. You're invited to the first WIBC Pop-Up Pickleball Social, presented by Franciscan Health at Craig Park in Greenwood, Saturday, September 28th. Sign up for the Pickleball Clinic. See your favorite personalities pick up their paddles, plus open play and kids activities. All the details are at WIBC.com. Get in the game, but to stay out of the kitchen.
Oh, I see what you did there.
With Franciscan Health and 93 WIBC.
Reach your fitness goals in 2024 with the 20-minute once-a-week program at Exercise Inc. 5 locations now in Fishers. Visit exerciseinc.com.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Susan, looks like I'm losing my mind. I'm wasting my time.
Oh, Jim, you know what it is? The favorite portion of the program. You know why, don't you?
Because it's Friday?
Well, yes, because it's Friday, which means it's the last segment before the weekend. But honestly, it's the favorite portion because we have the most thoughtful person ever helping us out as we deliver the message to the masses.
About being polite and correctness and how to handle yourself in public society. We need as much help with that as we can get.
We need that now more than ever. But today, and we don't have just anybody. We just don't grab some rando off the street and say, what do you think? We have someone who is educated and practiced in this, our very own Miss Indiana, Susan Beckwith. But today, Susan, we're going to go in a bit of a different direction, aren't we?
Yeah, so longtime listeners might recall when I launched Belle of the Midwest way back in 2014, I was writing for a local magazine. I had a fashion column called What Would Susan Wear?
Mm-hmm.
And we would talk, of course, fashion, but we would also talk beauty. So this is kind of in that lane. And I just thought, you know what, it would be really fun. I could talk, skincare, makeup, all kinds of things for ladies. But I thought it might be kind of interesting to talk about some things that are relevant for both men and women.
Okay.
In regards to kind of like anti-aging.
Okay, so we're talking aesthetics and how to grow old gracefully.
Yeah, like aging like a fine wine.
Okay.
Now, Susan, how about, what if I don't want to grow old gracefully? What if I want to be 75 and still doing shots of Fireball and smoking an occasional cigarette and wearing my Air Jordans and playing video games? Is that bad? Is that wrong?
You do you.
Okay.
And just disregard anything that we're going to touch on. And you know what? I think you'll like some of these. And, we'll see. I know it's a little different, but I think that these are things that people may be able to incorporate.
Okay. Well, here we've got the Belle of the Midwest, Susan Beckwith, joining us. And these are some top tips for men and women about aging like a fine wine. So what do you have? What's number one?
So this one is so great. You can do it in the comfort of your own home, but to whiten your teeth. So I loved a book. I have one. It's called How Not to Look Old.
Okay.
And straight out of there, they just talk about, when your teeth are stained, that's just not a great look. And so that's a great, easy way and really pretty affordable these days. It's just to whiten your teeth. That's a good way to kind of dial back.
Now, what are we doing to whiten our teeth? Are we getting the strips? Are we going to the dentist? Is baking soda, special toothpaste? Is there anything specific that we should be looking to?
You know what? all of the above.
Okay.
So I actually utilize my dentist, and if you become a new patient, you can get that for free. So if anybody wants those details, message me. I'll be happy to pass along who I go to. But, I've done the at-home, and then I have some friends that I like to call my crunchy friends that are like, a little more natural. I feel like they've utilized some of those more natural ways of whitening that you mentioned.
Yeah, and especially if we're trying to age like fine wine and coffee and pop, those things do stain your teeth, and over time they will make you look older than what you actually are. That's a good one. Okay, what else can we do?
Okay, so we've talked about this before on in a past segment. As far as building a wardrobe and investing in classic pieces that are going to stand the test of time, which I think is wonderful. However, I do think that as we age, it's still important to be somewhat aware and incorporating trends, just so that you are kind of staying in the know. And a great way to do this, and I know men as well as women, several of them, that utilize clothing subscription boxes.
Okay. Have you ever done one of those?
I have not, but I asked for permission, and he was like, I don't care. He was like, it's perfect, but Micah does. So he utilizes Stitch Fix, and it's been amazing. He hates to shop, and everything comes to your door. You get to try it on at home. You don't have to keep anything. But we've found some great brands that he really loves, and you get to set the price point. So if you want to say, this is what I'm willing to spend, and you also have a stylist, so you can say, this is kind of the look I'm going for, and they do all the legwork.
Okay, now I don't know if you'll answer me, but I'm really curious. What was the style prompts that you used for Micah when you went and filled this out?
You know what? He did it completely on his own, and it's kind of changed throughout the years. And he's done this for a while because, when he was working in youth ministry, of course, it was a very different look than now when he's having to wear a lot more blazers and, button-down shirts. So it's kind of evolved as his career has changed. But it has been, he loves it, and I love it because I used to have to drag him to the store, and that was always painful.
Yeah. Well, it must work really well because he always looks really nicely put together. I just assumed that was you doing that on his behalf, but now we know that he's got a company.
Yep. He utilizes Stitch Fix. There's several out there, but I just thought that would be a good, reminder and also an encouragement. I think initially when those rolled out, people thought of women utilizing them, but I know a lot of men that do, and it's been a godsend for them.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing to bring up. I'm going to have to look into that because I don't
because you're tired of me wearing Iron Maiden T-shirts and my Vans slip-on shoes?
No, the Air Jordans are good that you wear. I wasn't even thinking for you. I was thinking for me because, Susan, you know what I've done is I'm not a big shopper, and I tend to just wear the same thing over and over again. And recently I went on Amazon and bought some dresses and accidentally sent them to our daughter's address. So I don't even have those dresses. But now, yeah, I know. She's like holding on to them for me. But now maybe I'll have to look into that Stitch Fix and say, make me look young and cool like Micah Beckwith. Only for the girl version. Okay, that's a good one. What else can we do to aesthetically stay younger looking?
So over time, if you have those pieces that you've invested in, our shape can change as we age. So I am a big fan of finding a great seamstress or someone that can tailor your clothes and make adjustments. And, I think when things fit you well, they not only are more aesthetically pleasing, they can actually look more expensive. So I would say find a great tailor.
That's great advice.
It's funny you say that because when I was in the business world and wearing a suit and tie to work every day, I had all my suits custom tailored.
Well, you had to because you would have the collar roll in the back. And
I'm just an odd body shape, and off-the-rack suit jackets and pants never fit me right, so I always had them tailored custom, and it made a massive, massive difference.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Susan, because if you're going to invest maybe in some more quality pieces, you want to make sure the hem is right and they look good on you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm very petite, so I'm constantly having to have, alterations, but it does make a world of difference. And so, like I said, it can make some of those more inexpensive, maybe trendy finds even look, more polished, more expensive. So you just look like $1 million all the time.
You always look like $1 million. And now we have her secrets.
It's true.
We know why and how she does it. So you've got a busy weekend ahead of you, I'm sure, don't you?
Yes, more soccer fun. We are absolutely loving this season with our kids. We've started soccer, and now we're into cross country, and I just absolutely love it. I have a nice blister on my finger from ringing that cowbell.
Good for you. Good for you. She does it all. She juggles so much, and she always does it pleasantly and with a beautiful smile, and now we know how she gets that beautiful smile. Susan Beckwith, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so my website is a great resource for, not only some beauty stuff like we talked about today and anti-aging, but all things etiquette. So be sure to check it out, and then follow me on social media at Belle of the Midwest on Instagram as well as Facebook.
That's BELLE of the Midwest. Susan Beckwith, we appreciate you. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the kids. I know you're busy with the campaign and everything going on, so we appreciate the time that you spend here on the Kendall and Casey Show.
Absolutely.
And that's going to do it for us today. Jim, you ready to get out of here?
Friday.
Yeah, Friday. All right. We've got to go. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Kevin. But mostly, thank you for listening today. This has been the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
When you have a stuffy nose, life can be a bit unpleasant. Some live every day with a stuffy nose, and that can make life downright miserable. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we are committed to eliminating your nasal breathing problems with simple in-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty, which requires no surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. At Advent, we understand your inability to breathe freely limits your quality of life, and that's why we continue to pioneer the most advanced in-office procedures that have made our practice a global destination for those seeking to live their highest quality of life. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for the balloon sinuplasty procedure. Because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. For service today. Today.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Will you be there?
This is just such a prestigious place and such hallowed ground.
Reigning Brickyard 400 champ and 2024 Indy 500 Rookie of the Year, Kyle Larson will try to make history, racing and winning the Indy 500 presented by Gainbridge and the NASCAR Coca-Cola 600 in the same day.
I love you, Indiana fans. How about we come back next May and try and kiss these Greeks on the IndyCar?
Don't miss your chance to see Kyle Larson take on two-time defending champion Joseph Newgarden and all the stars of IndyCar at the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500.
See you guys all next May.
For ticket info, visit IMS.com.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.